Good to have you with us. Welcome to America's Day at the Races. Live look at Aqueduct Racetrack, South Ozone Park, New York. Here on our Fox Sports 2 coverage. 12 minutes to post in Race 5, the start of the Late Pick 4. We have live coverage all afternoon from Oaklawn as well. We'll get to our crew out in Hot Springs shortly. Feature in Hot Springs today. Fillies and Mares sprinting in the American Beauty. Greg Wolf alongside New York Racing Association handicapper Andy Serling. Good to see you as we continue to deal with a racetrack that favoring speed and favoring being forward.
Yeah, it's been the case for 6 days. I mean, it often seems forward because speed horses go to the rail, but I don't think I've seen a stronger inside speed bias than we've had now for 6 straight days on this track. And it's not just that it's helping horses inside. The horses that are chasing on the outside, for the most part, are just basically falling apart.
We'll get to the 5th. Again, just 12 minutes to post in Race 5. Starts that Late Pick 4. Here's what's ahead, presented by Claiborne Farm. Fast here in New York. Fast in Hot Springs, where we'll bring you races 5 through 10. Classic starts in that 5th, and as mentioned, that American Beauty, the feature, Fillies and Mares sprinting 6 furlongs later this afternoon. 4 minutes away. Go ahead.
Is it me, or is the number 6 Henro right now at 4-1 a bit of an overlay here at Oaklawn?
We'll get
I
more on that from
but
we'll ask the Mig and Megan about that as we go to Hot Springs right now. Get their take on this first race coming up in our live action here on FS2. Megan, how you doing?
Hey guys, great to see you. We're in the infield here at Oaklawn Park. We wouldn't be able to be in the infield at Aqueduct. A little bit of snow cover.
A little bit of snow, and I agree on that racetrack. It's been something to behold as far as how the bias that it's affecting. But I also think that you and Andy are actually telepathically communicating a little bit here about the 6 that we both thought would be favored in this race. I agree he is an overlay, and we'll speak in a bit just about how unique this condition is, the first of its kind being run here at Oaklawn Park.
Yeah, this is a ratings handicap, and they're not trying to replace claiming race here at Oaklawn, but they're kind of experimenting with a rating system. And, you know, if you look at this field and, you know, it's a 70 to an 80 rating, it looks like an allowance race or a high-priced claiming race. And I think it's going to be interesting to see. I think it's a welcome addition as well. Very competitive race here. I liked Henro. I didn't think he would be that big a price.
I didn't either. I thought he would be much shorter, but the ratings we are discussing, of course, this is a ratings handicap, is based off of the Equibase ratings system. That's kind of new on the scene here, and of course, a new condition where, again, as mentioned, a rating of 70 to 80, and the winner of this race is not considered an allowance victory, so these horses can move through those allowance conditions and move forward without this counting against them.
Well, and basically being treated as like a starter allowance. If you have like a race non-winners of one other than a starter, a maiden starter, or a claiming race, this would be, I guess, correlate to a starter allowance. Very competitive. Where did you land?
Now that I'm seeing, just looking at the board, I think it's hard to not accept the number 6 Henro up there at 4-1. I went between the 6 and the 3 here. I thought there were some places to go, but the 6 is coming off. Obviously, he was in too deep last time out, routing there in a grade 3. Now he cuts back to the 6 furlongs, which I think will be just perfect for him. He hasn't been able to do that on the dirt in quite some time, and I think they're, especially with him being hopefully a bit more tactical, we shall see. He's been one that has just come off of it, both sprinting and out the route. But at the same time, I think that we could see a horse like the number 3 Normandy Coast controlling on the front end, and the speed has held of the races we've seen so far here at Oaklawn.
Well, that's something you and I were talking about off camera, Megan. It seems like horses are making a run, and they're almost kind of stalling mid-stretch and not quite getting to the leader. Do you think maybe that's part of the reason why the 3 Normandy Coast is an 8-5 favorite now?
It could be. It's not, in the first race we kind of saw, it's not as if you can't win coming from a bit off of it. And we've seen some cheaper races, I would say, in the first couple of races. So a lot of times those horses don't exactly love to pass late in the game. But I agree with you on that. It's something we obviously talked about. We'll see if it affects in this race as well. But I think it does make the number 3 Normandy Coast all the more enticing, as he looks to be the controlling speed, quickest away, and now second off the bench, training well down at Keeneland, making the ship for Eddie Keneally, who's been very astute in the horses that he has decided to send here.
Now, a horse that I don't like on paper, and when we look at horses physically, we're trying to match up that we like their form as well on paper, but the 9, Innova, gosh, this horse warmed up incredible. What extension on this horse on the warm-up, making his first start for Mike Maker.
I agree with you. I thought he looked pretty nice as far as what we saw from him on camera. He does have to contend with the layoff, and he is up against it just as far as the overall condition and some of these horses making the class drop on paper as he climbs up in class from what it looks like.
Well, I think you and I both wound up on the 6 Henro at what we think is an elevated price at 4-1. Let's send it up to the top of the Oaklawn Park building to Matt Dinnerman for the call.
Two back, Normandy Coast. Innova to the outside. Here's Innova. We're ready to go. And we're off. Politically correct off a little bit slowly. Normandy Coast shoved upon to get forward position. Innova is quickest, though, and Innova is going to take the lead here. Opens up 2 on Osborne and Normandy Coast, 2nd and 3rd. Ninja Warrior in the 4th position, 2 ahead of B Sud with Politically Correct, and Henro drops to the back as they're down the back stretch. Innova's Speedy leads by 3, is opened up with a half mile to go. In the 2nd spot is Osborne. Then comes Normandy Coast on the inside off the pace today. He's sent upon already going into the forward turn run. A length in front of Ninja Warrior, 2 back to Politically Correct on the outside, trying to pass horses here. B-Sud still 2nd to last on the rail, and Henro is yet to pass a runner as they round the far turn. Innova approaching the quarter pole, the lead's down to 2. 2nd, Osborne still Politically Correct in an all-out drive, attempting to reel in the front runners at the top of the lane. He's got a shot. They're off the turn. Osborne is the leader. Politically Correct there on the outside, trying to reel him in here. B-Sud on the grandstand side, coming on with Henro. 1 furlong to go. Osborne hanging tough. Politically Correct up the inside, Ninja Warrior, and here comes Henro down the center. Ninja Warrior, Henro, these two passing the early leaders in the stretch, and they come to the line, and it's a photo finish. Very tight. Ninja Warrior, Henro on the line together. Politically Correct. Osborne 3rd and 4th.
Well, a ding-dong finish down to the wire. Horses coming from off the pace, so we can put that theory to rest. It looked to me like Ninja Warrior got the best of this with Henro really finishing fast.
Yeah, I thought that the number 4 Ninja Warrior was probably the likeliest horse to try to beat, just as far as his tactical ability to try to beat the 6, and he was a bit more forward, but they both came off of the pace. Henro putting together a nice run, but yeah, I mean, you could argue the 4 has got to save a little bit more ground than the horse that finished in 2nd.
Yeah, I think they both got to save ample amount of ground, but where Henro had an angle out, Ninja Warrior was able to continue his forward progress straight. So that little bit of having to go sideways, it's close to the wire. It does certainly look like Ninja Warrior got the best of it, but I thought 2 terrific rides by the winner and the runner-up.
Absolutely. But I will say this, Greg Compton got off to a slow start. Now he's finally heating up there with the 2nd win of the meet.
Well, guys, we got started off the day here at Oaklawn with a nice, exciting photo finish. Let's head back to Aqueduct with Greg Wolf and Andy Serling.
Meg, thanks. Looks like 9-2 on Ninja Warrior as we get set for a post parade here in race 5. Riders up. 1 turn mile, this lower level maiden claiming race.
I didn't find it exciting to lose my 4th straight photo at Oaklawn Park, so glad Richie was excited. I was not.
All right. The story here is we have a massive favorite who is against the racetrack.
Yeah.
Matter? Is the field that suspect?
Oh, I think around here it matters a great deal. You'd have to. I mean, yesterday's last race, I guess that horse overlaid the field. You're talking about an 0 for 19 horse.
We'll get to him in a minute. Here's down the line, 14-1.
He's only 0 for 11, fast enough to be competitive and should be inside.
Noguchi has Jose Lezcano for Linda Rice.
I prefer this one. Went from a dead rail to hopefully being the speed on a gold rail.
Uncle Barry, blinkers coming off, has no speed.
And tough to make a case for this horse, even on a fair racetrack.
2 sprints, but has not got out of the gate well and has shown no speed, the 5.
I predict he improves on his doubles -0 buyers, though.
Not hard to predict on that one. Freedom Maker, 9-2, Manny Franco.
He is lost 2 races in a row. He appeared to be home Jerome in, and he's destined to have an uncomfortable trip.
6 wins yesterday, won the opener today. Here's the big favorite, Come to Papa, the 7.
You got a lot of heart if you're taking a short price on an 0 for 19 horse that doesn't figure to get an inside trip.
And Natural Hunk outside 14 to 1.
Second off a layoff, caught a wet track last time. There's some things to say this horse could be a little interesting, but he's another horse that's doomed by his post position.
There's that payoff. It was indeed Ninja Warrior, $11.60 at Oaklawn, 4-6-1 finish. And we mentioned the day Manny Franco had. He even overcame, the way this track was playing in the finale to somehow run down a forward horse in the nightcap to get his 6th win on the card. And he started today kicking off the card with a win as well.
Yes, Manny, one of my favorite riders, but not always attuned to biases, but he certainly was on top of it yesterday. And while one of his horses overcame it, in general, he was really on top of it, sending horses aggressively to get to the fence.
Pretty incredible afternoon. We have this one, Loose Horse, Uncle Barry. Nice job. It looks like the outrider there is already caught up with this one. And I would think, I'm not able to see how far this one got away, but it looks like
I don't know.
Quite a ways.
We have somebody who might know, actually.
Let's head down and get an update. Joining us, welcome back to the program, Maggie Wolfendale.
Yeah, we saw rider Kokakaya dismounted, I should say dropped, just past the wire here in the warm-up. So we saw Uncle Barry probably run off about 3/8 of a mile. I would say it's a 50-50 call. We'll wait and hear Chris Griffin if he makes that announcement on whether or not he will be a late scratch. But let's check in with your favorite. That is number 7, Come to Papa. That is for Linda Rice, and he by far looks best in this field. But I totally understand what the guys upstairs are saying, that he's up against it when it comes to dynamics. And, last time I thought he kind of got away awkwardly a bit, so he was slow into stride and far back. He did move closer between horses on the turn, and the winner just got the jump where Magnanimous Max was a prohibitive favorite that day. I just think even having more time in Linda's barn since that first start in New York has probably done this horse well. Just looked good last time, but I think looks even better here today. We'll see if he's able to overcome his lack of speed. Moving on to his inside is number 6, Freedom Maker, who does have a bit more tactical speed than his main rival, but he is also 0 for 15. And last time, he made that kind of wide move to the lead entering the stretch, and he was just run down late by Enduring Angel, who was kind of a sneaky wise guy horse that day. And Freedom Maker, he adds blinkers, just a short cheater cup on him, but he was very forward in the paddock. So I would foresee him being fairly forwardly placed in this field today. And then there's number 3, Noguchi, kind of rounding out the logical players in this field. I do like him getting a little, I liked him turning back to the mile last time, so we're at a mile again here. I know he was on the dead rail, as Andy indicated. He looks good as usual here. And he does take a little bit of a drop, I suppose, to this 12.5, like the aforementioned 2. But I don't know. He's had less chances. He does have speed. We'll see how things play out for him today. He might be the one that is just with the track, Greg.
All right, Maggie, thank you. She'll be joining me on the desk later this afternoon when you wrap up, I believe, around 5 Eastern?
Yeah, she picked a good week to week plus to be gone from New York, huh? With considering how cold it was in New York and a little warmer down in the sunny climes of South America. So a little envious, a little jealous, a little bitter, Glad to have her back.
Yeah, absolutely.
We missed her.
4 to 5
listen.
on obviously a deserving favorite, but the way this track is playing, 4 to 5 seems a little insane.
I agree, though I like the 3, and I think 9 to 5 is a bit of an underlay. The problem in here is it's very hard to make a case for anybody other than the 3, 6, and 7. And the 6 is a horse who's had his share of chances and just doesn't get it done. I do prefer the 3, but I don't think 8-5 is any great shakes on this horse, given the last race, dead rail or not. This horse has not been good, but I think that people are just seeing this horse as the 4 now is announced, Uncle Barry, as a late scratch. Barry, excuse me.
All right, we thought that was coming. Took a little while. Nevertheless, yes, comes out, horse that got away. Is there any world in which, not to say the horse is going to win the race, the horse cannot on paper, but the one can get the lead? At least horse has shown speed on the turf.
It just depends how aggressive other riders are. You know, that's the other problem when you deal with this bias. You're at the mercy of decisions made by riders, and in some cases, riders are going to be super aggressive. If they're smart, they will be. Some are clued into it, some aren't, and I don't know. You know, you can only guess so much. For my money, I'm happy to take a horse that really feels like the controlling speed and the price seems right. You know,
and here he is, by the way.
Yeah, but I don't think 8-5 on this horse. I'm not going to bet this horse at 3-2. This is just silly. I mean, you know, win or lose, this is a hard horse to bet at this price.
Late pick 4 starts here. Noguchi. Jose Lezcano usually attuned to how the track is playing for the Hot Linda Rice. Almost 30% at the meet. Can be forward. Second choice on the board right now as we start this pick 4. We send it upstairs. Chris Griffin, the call.
Natural Hunk hesitating briefly. Now in, all set. And they're off. Shooting right out of the gate there was Jamaica Red to the inside, has the early speed. Jamaica Red is quickly up by a full length now. Chasing towards the outside is Midnight Musume, and in between horses Noguchi now emerges, and Noguchi's going to be a stalking second as they get set to come out of the chute. The leader is Jamaica Red, who's up by still for that full length. Noguchi is a tracking second, then comes Midnight Musume in third. Out wider, they're on the far outside of the racetrack. There is Freedom Maker is traveling in tandem with Come to Papa. No choice but Natural Hunk on the far outside. And the Triller down the line, 23.51 at the lone long shot in Jamaica Red. He's trying to take this one now, and here at the rail is Noguchi. Has got the seam, and Noguchi just cruises right on by Jamaica Red, who's now dropping back through the field. The new leader is Noguchi, who will take him into the far turn. Freedom Maker is ready to pounce here 2 wide, 3 wide. That's going to be Come to Papa. That's the top trio now through a 47-4 half-mile time. Natural Hunk is trying to rally on, is taken fourth. Midnight Musume is dropping back, and the Triller down the line. Noguchi made that quick move, has got the lead, but here comes Come to Papa 3 wide. In between horses, Freedom Maker starts to lose some ground, and Natural Hunk is trying to run them all down. They reach the top of the stretch and battling on towards the inside Noguchi. Come to Papa with every chance to run on by. These two are noses apart, approaching a final furlong. It's Come to Papa who's trying to secure the lead. Noguchi battles on, but Come to Papa is in front. Inside the final 16th, Come to Papa, Noguchi, Come to Papa, Noguchi, Come to Papa. Won it. Come to Papa over Noguchi, then came Natural Hunk, and down the line at 1 minute 41.68 seconds.
Come to Papa, even money. In the end, floated up. Linda Rice, Kendrick Carmouche the win.
This was an extremely fast pace for this quality of horse. They went 47 and change and came home in 54 and change, and Noguchi doesn't make the lead. You know, did stay on the rail, and a good job by Jose, but chasing in that situation with, as you suggested, the one being aggressive, and can't blame that rider for at least trying something, but it really sapped Noguchi and sort of allowed the 7 to win. I kind of wonder if the number 8 Natural Hunk, if Jose Gomez was paying more attention, instead of sitting out in the 4 and 5 path in the turn with nobody within striking distance of him, had drifted over the rail and tried to save ground and then been able to split these horses. I wonder if that horse could have won. And I really wonder sometimes, I mean, this is day number number 6 of an extreme bias. If you're a rider and you haven't picked it up by it now, I don't know what you're doing, you know, and I like Jose, and I didn't bet the 8, but this was an opportunity for him to take advantage of circumstance, and he could have won that race with a more perceptive ride.
Not a racetrack where you are able to rally wide.
Yep.
Come to Papa, career start number 20. Gets the first career win. Linda Rice owns Strains, Kendrick Carmouche aboard. Tickets are on sale now. We have the lineup.
Have they told you you're going? I heard there was some discussion whether or
The
not
Belmont Stakes Festival. I'm hoping I'm
Come
involved.
from here at Aqueduct.
We're back on our Friday coverage, America's Day at the Races here on Fox Sports 2. It's brought to you in part by America's Best Racing, making the sport easier to follow. Explore stories, betting tips, and race day insights at americasbestracing.net. What's new at ABR? Forever Young. And all the key horses to know for the 2026 Saudi Cup card. We'll have a little in-depth preview. And, of course, live coverage tomorrow, but we'll have that preview later on the show.
I like Forever Young. I don't want to give it away. I know people are waiting, but
interesting. I haven't heard that take yet.
Smoked him out. I thought he looked pretty good. I liked his last race.
It was pretty good in the Classic.
Yeah.
2026 Kentucky Derby. Trail 3 heating up, 3 cooling down, and then the Sunland Park Derby at a glance. All that and more over at ABR. Check it out. Come to Papa. It's coming to the winner's circle in career start number 20. Finally getting that first victory.
And you were here for it. You know, there are those days and those events, the racetrack, that you remember for a long time. Rachel Alexandra's Woodward, you know, certain amazing moments. And being here for Come to Papa. Overcoming the bias to win, too. You know, you got to
give this one a little credit for that,
I do.
right?
I do. Listen, I mean, these are hard-trying horses. And as you feel bad, these horses, these run plenty of consistently okay races. He just hasn't sealed the deal, but he did today.
And as strong as this bias has been, it was not strong enough for Jamaica Red. He tried to take him gate to wire.
No, but the rider who does not ride here that much,
smart ride,
I give him credit for what he did.
Absolutely.
He had a horse that couldn't win, but he gave him every chance.
$4.36 for the victory on Come to Papa. So formful start to the beginning of this pick 4 as we move on to the 6.5 furlong sprint. Starter optional claiming field. And currently, She's Cool, 3-2 favorite.
Yeah, I mean, I could never bet She's Cool on this racetrack. When I make my picks well ahead of time, my assumption is the track's going to be fair. Obviously, it's not. And while I think She's Cool, who I don't believe will be favored as third choice in doubles, I don't think will be favored at post time. I think that she's better than these horses, but I don't believe she's going to be able to overcome the bias, and I'm not taking a short price on any horse to do it.
Is Problematica to you the speed of the speed?
I think so, and the inside speed, right? And why
5-1 right now.
Yeah, but she's the second choice along with the 6. I far prefer her to the number 6 best impression because at the very least she'll be in the rail, and I think the 6 is doomed to be chasing outside. So I would stick to the inside. I'd take the 2 at a big price over any of them.
Yeah, let's
over
keep our
the
eyes
6 at least
on these odds. Yeah, as it gets closer to post time. We mentioned going to break. The final time the Belmont Stakes will be held at this historic racetrack at Saratoga. Be part of history. Belmont Stakes Racing Festival, June 3rd through 7th. And I have been told, well, actually, I mean, I guess I haven't, but I will be there as far
Excellent.
as I know.
I'm glad to hear. If
Belmont
you're not
Stakes,
going, I'm not going, Greg.
Thank you. BelmontStakes.com/tickets to get yours now. Be part of the third and final edition of that third leg of the Triple Crown at Saratoga.
And then we'll come back here for the final 3 weeks of Aqueduct. A bittersweet leaving, but of course a beautiful Belmont awaits in the fall, a beautiful new Belmont. And the Belmonts in Saratoga have been fun. To be able to go there when we couldn't be at Belmont is an incredible luxury.
And a look at the stakes lineup for that Belmont Stakes Racing Festival week, which is always a lot of fun. We see so many stars come out for those big races. We look forward to it. The Manhattan, the Met Mile.
We're also due to have good weather for a Belmont week. And we start out with a race for Peggy Steinman, who we hope was able to join us for that. Of course, been such a huge part of the steeplechase community for many years and a loyal part of Saratoga as well. So we're hoping that she's able to join us for that. The New York Red Showcase Day, that first day, the Wednesday we start, but just a stakes-laden week and a great week. Any week outside of the winter is nice to be in Saratoga. I'm heading up there next weekend.
I believe we get 51 days of racing at Saratoga this year. I think that's the number.
I believe that's correct.
Incredible.
Yes, 5 days, yes, because of where 4th of July and Labor Day fall. But we'll be back to 40-day meets next year.
We're going to take a timeout. Back to Hot Springs when we return from a timeout. Classics Pick 6 is coming up next. 5.5 furlongs in this 12,000 claiming race for non-winners at 2 Life. Stay with us.
Anybody else want $650,000 not a minute today? $1,650,000 not a half. $1,600,000. Thank you.
You bet with Naira Bets. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Download the Naira Bets app to play today and get a $200 deposit bonus. Watch live horse racing. Get expert picks. Boost your bankroll with weekly promotions and hone your handicapping skills with exclusive tips and tutorials. Download the Naira Bets app now. Sign up now to claim your $200 deposit match bonus. You bet with Naira Bets.
First again and again and again. First mission, 4 graded stakes. He made finishing first his mission, and all with big buyers. Now he's a Darley Stallion, and breeders are falling in love with him. Here's fabled horseman John Williams.
First mission is an eyeful. He's beautifully balanced, and I love the way he uses himself as he moves.
Come to see First Mission and tell us your first impression. Consider it your mission.
Oaklawn Hot Springs is here for when you need to break away, when you want to reward yourself, when you deserve to indulge, when you want to be close to the action. It's all here. So what are you waiting for? Live racing returns with the classic racing season. So plan your stay at Oaklawn Hot Springs and come join the fun.
We're back on our Friday coverage, America's Day at the Races on Fox Sports 2, brought to you in part by legendary Claiborne Farm. Thanks for being with us as we are 13 minutes away from race 6. This starter optional claiming field, and we'll start with what looks like to be the speed of the field from the rail. Problematica. Don't get too excited about 5-1 though. Favored in the pick 3, and I believe second choice in the double.
Oh, yeah, but we're at Oaklawn.
Yes, we are.
Okay, I was getting
Here's
confused.
Tiptoe Joe.
Tiptoe Joe looks a little bit on the slow side to me.
40 Love, Christian Torres for Sean Williams off the claim.
I worry this horse she is one of the contenders in her. He is, excuse me, but he doesn't have a lot of speed.
Dallas Stewart trains Sherrill's B, blinkers on.
I thought this horse could be the controlling speed and might make him a little bit dangerous.
Springtown, first off the claim, Matt Cantermachi.
Yeah, and gets a good rider switch to Ramon Vasquez. I thought this horse was one of the ones to beat.
Tom Amoss, the favorite, sexagenarian, blinkers off, speed.
I thought this horse made a lot of sense. Tom is only 1 for 15 off the claim in dirt sprints at Oaklawn.
Montana Cafe for Kim Poole. Long shot specialist trainer.
Looked a little slow.
Skyler, 14-1. Eric Foster.
Ditto.
Should be somewhat forward early, though. Here's the 8, War of Destiny.
Tries the dirt for the first time and has a ton of dirt pedigree. I almost wonder what Mark took so long to get to the dirt. And the way that barn's going, I wouldn't dismiss any of his horses.
Long shot here, Bands Free Spirit.
Looked a little overmatched.
Comes in from Prairie Meadows. Handsome Herb at 7-1.
Off a 7-month layoff for trainer Chris Hartman, and his good races are good enough, but it's been a while.
It drops from 50 to 30 to 12 today. The 11, Rhino to Grace.
On the dirt, too slow. 77-1.
Cubs fans, I guess, will be all over that one.
Yes. That and then Ryan Sandberg and Mark Grace.
Absolutely. And then Macville, big night, well done.
You're impressed, I knew that.
Macville outside for Wayne Potts.
Bobby Cladd, our producer, is very impressed. Looks a little on the slow side. Last race at Aqueduct. Wayne Potts having a good meet.
All right, 4 minutes away from this 5th. Let's go to Megan.
Thanks, Greg. And yeah, a very, very competitive race going 5.5 furlongs, less margin for error for the horses and riders. What were you a little bit interested in here?
I thought this was a tough one. It's definitely going to be, to me, a race where you get a makeover in the number 5 sexagenarian for our colleague Tom Amoss. But I agree with Andy as far as trying it dirt for the first time in the number 8, who you had some interest in. Well, I kind of was joking. Are you and Andy kind of correlating? I mentioned being telepathic earlier in the show, but it seems as if y'all are both on a similar wavelength.
It's kind of scaring me a little bit, too, that I'm thinking like Andy. It's a little bit of a departure from our kind of normal song and dance. But I thought the 8 was very interesting, War of Destiny. This is a horse that's a half to Dream Marie, who's a graded stakes place winner on dirt. We've seen Mark have a lot of success with horses coming off of turf and synthetic. And the horse has been training here at Oaklawn his last couple of works. I thought this horse was interesting. This is a wide open affair, though. In 5.5, will this horse get swept off his feet or will be able to get in position?
That's the key to this race, is the distance. We don't typically see 5.5 furlongs run here at Oaklawn Park very often. I believe there's only one prior race, and that was a stake back in the poinsettia. But this is a challenging first leg of this Classics Pick 6 sequence that let's take a stab at it. Why don't we? We've got, I thought this is kind of more a late pick 3, get out pick 3, you could say, to horses to look at. But in the featured race, the American Beauty, I like the number 2, Esternia, coming off the layoff, working really well. I think her speed is going to be dangerous with Luis Saez getting the mount for the first time for Randy Morris. And then we take a look at race number 9, Wildwood Queen. It drops back into State Bred Company and closed very impressively against some of the same foes that they will, of course, face in that, I believe it's 12-5 tag now. But then the last race, of course, all chaos can reign sometimes with these Arkansas breds. This is a $40,000 claimer. And the number 10, Tallahassee, is dropping down in tag for the first time. And I think Lasix is going to be the key point to this horse. She will be actually breaking from post number 1. So that's number 1, Tallahassee, in the finale here at Oaklawn.
Yeah, I thought she was interesting as well, getting the Lasix. You know, anytime you see a horse show the kind of speed she shows and stop as abruptly, you've got to think Lasix would certainly help. Little interesting fact here on the 3, Shirreffs B, a 6-year-old only making his 8th career start adding blinkers, actually won the Grade 1 Flower Bowl on his Grand Dam, Lady Shirl.
I saw that as well. Look at that. And I think that this horse is very interesting. Lightly raised 6-year-old. I think it's always incredibly interesting when horses not only getting a steep drop in class, this is as steep as you can go, but getting the blinkers on, trying something new for an old dog with new tricks. Richie, how do you kind of analyze when they try? Maybe are they grasping at straws, or is it a wake-up call?
I think sometimes you get an older horse, like people, they kind of get into a rut, a routine, and they're just kind of going through the motions. Obviously taking a precipitous drop in class for Dallas Stewart, comes in with some snappy workouts, adds blinkers. Luis Saez, you got to think they're looking to be forward, and maybe the blinkers is just a little bit of a wake-up call.
Well, speaking of a forward horse with speed, the number 5 is Sexagenarian, and if you don't know what that means, it's a person in their 60s. I know Mig is only in his 40s, but he's getting closer and closer by the day, and this is definitely a horse that I think will be forwardly placed. He's speedy, taking the blinkers off, first off the claim from Mike Maker, which can be difficult to do, but our colleague Tom Amos is doing so, and again, got gelded, really giving this horse a makeover. And check out that 48 flat 4 furlong move back on February the 5th after the gelding. So I think this horse is going to be tough in here, is taking favoritism at this point, but the speed makes him dangerous. I think getting back to 5.5, he'll handle just fine. I thought it was pretty interesting, but it always is kind of difficult to read some of these claims as far as showing that form, especially first off the claim, especially getting a little bit of a makeover. But I really like this horse in this spot.
Well, you know, Tom's such a, successful trainer. He's done it with good horses, but he's done it with claimers as well. And the fact that he gelded this horse makes me believe he saw something in this horse that he thought gelding would help improve him, put him right back in for the same price he claimed this horse for. Kind of very interesting. And unfortunately, yes, I am a sexagenarian. I am in my 60s. What do they call someone in their 70s? What we call Andy?
I'm not quite sure, but we'll make sure to get the note over to him. So I think that that's mean. That was mean. I think y'all are both sexagenarians, right?
Yes,
okay.
we are.
Perfect.
He looks older than me.
Okay.
That's all.
Okay.
To be fair.
To be fair.
And you know why I'm saying this now? They're loading in the gate. I don't give him a chance to retort.
There you
He
go.
can come back at me later. Let's head up to Matt Dinneman for the call of this 5.5 furlong sprint, race 5 at Oaklawn Park.
Waiting for Sexagenarian to come up to the gate post 5. Skylar, Rhino to Grace. A few more runners to round out the group. Montana Cafe is coming up to the gate. Two back, Skylar and Macville to the outside. Here's Macville coming up to the gate. We're ready to go, and they're off. A stumble at the break, a bad one for Shirreffs B, who drops to the back of the field. Springtown is on the lead from Tiptoe Joe, who's moving up to come and challenge. In the third spot is Sexagenarian right off of them. Handsome Herb on the far outside, trying to tuck over as they approach the four-turn run. War of Destiny next in the group with 40 Love to the inside as they corner. Then comes Montana Cafe. He's 7 lengths behind, under a ride already. Macville is about to pass him. He's got some work to do as they round that far turn. Then Brand's Free Spirit outside of Skylar, and that leaves Rhino to Grace the trail as they round the far turn. Handsome Herb flees from the pack, steps on the gas, and puts 5 lengths at the quarter pole on the rest of the group here. Handsome Herb all alone on the lead as he comes off the turn. Let's see if he can keep going here. Springtown in second, plotting in place. Sexagenarian on the far outside with Tiptoe Joe, and then 40 Love who's coming on here. Furlong to go. Handsome Herb still well ahead of the competition, and there are no dangers in sight. Handsome Herb and Israel Hernandez at 4-1, going to score here convincingly by 5 or 6. Second home 40 Love, then Tiptoe Joe, and Sexagenarian was 4th across the finish.
Well, Megan, this race was basically over about an eighth of a mile into the race when Handsome Herb just took control, opened up, and ran away.
He has never quite done that. I mean, if you go back in his form, you see that 81 Fire speed figure here last meet where he won by 14 lengths. That was against weaker foes. So this horse has been doing well. He worked 47-3 on February the 4th, so he's in good form. But very interesting to me, the tactics, and they went for it. The aggression worked, and especially at these 5.5 furlong distances, sometimes you get to the front and go, and that is exactly what materializes in the end.
Yeah, I've always felt that lower level horses are more easily discouraged. This horse wasn't taking any chances of getting discouraged. He was the one doing the discouraging. And he did break his maiden for 20, tried much tougher in his 3 subsequent starts off the layoff, back to basically half the price he broke his maiden. I think that's a good rule of thumb where horses belong.
Yeah, really interesting. This horse has had some breaks in the past and has never run this well fresh. So nice to see Chris Hartman getting it done. And Israel Hernandez, this is his first meet here at Oaklawn Park, and nice to see him get a win on the board as well.
Handsome Herb gets it done in race 5. Let's head back to New York for race 6.
All right, Mig, thank you. 2 minutes to post here in race 6, and the speed of the field still holding up at 3-1 from the rail. Problematica. Here's our current favorite. That's the 5. She's cool. Let's go down to Maggie.
Yeah, we'll check in with her, Greg, as she comes off a bit of a layoff, the voided claim last time too, but going out for the Chris Englehart barn as she returns here, and she looks incredibly fit. I mean, she is one that actually has been a bit more bulky in her career, and she's lighter than what I've ever seen from her today, which is kind of odd to me because Chris Englehart is one of those trainers who generally, packs the conditioning onto his horses. Now, she's also one that isn't necessarily the fastest horse in here, which is that going to be detrimental to her? I did notice that last time too, back in November in that last effort, she switched back to her inside lead late. So like I said, she's fit, and obviously those front wraps go on, but Chris runs his horses in 4 wraps no matter who they are or what they're doing. So I don't really know how to interpret what I'm seeing from her. Like I said, she looks fit, but there's some intangibles that leave question marks in my mind, and especially at a short price. Moving on to number 2, Jackie the Joker. First off the reclaim by Jimmy Ferrara last time. She got the job done. She did get an ideal setup that day. She sat right off the pace stool and was able to tip out and run them all down. But, I thought it was interesting, her, because her form had gone way south and even started to do so for Jimmy, but he went back in for her, and it was funny. He was telling me, he's like, I just feed her carrots all day long. And, sometimes it's when you're dealing with 7-year-olds, older mares, it's just about keeping them happy. And I feel like Jimmy kind of knows how to keep Jackie the Joker happy here. So we'll see if she can repeat again, but she looks great. Like I said, it's reflective in her disposition in the paddock. She looked like she was ready to get out there and strut her stuff. Moving on to number 6, Best Impression. She was against the track last time out. Was claimed here by Greg Charlery. She looks better in her coat than what I had seen her last time, and we'll see. Is she, kind of? It's already written in the stars that she's going to face a similar type of trip, chasing from the outside again here. But we'll see what Raylo Gutierrez is able to do with her today, guys.
Maggie, thanks. I want to go back to the 2, who Maggie was talking about. And, we keep talking about the 1, maybe the speed of the speed. This 2, I think, has the ability to be quicker.
Yeah.
She has turf sprint speed. She has a more aggressive rider in Ruben Silvera. What do you think?
I believe that it's going to come down to who's more aggressive, and I'm guessing Problematica and Jamie Rodriguez will try to hold the rail. Having said that, I think if they both went into a full-out drive, I do think you're not wrong. And at the price, I don't think the 2 is a bad gamble. You're getting 6-1 on a horse who has a chance to be the speed. If she clears and ends up on the rail, you're going to want to take 7-5 on her because she can be very game, and she did something she's never done before or not recently, which is rate and win. So I think at the odds, she's a decent gamble. I like the 5. I think the 5 is absolutely the best horse in the race. My concern with the 5 is that she's just destined to have a trip against the racetrack. Now, if the 1 goes super hard and the 2 goes super hard and Best Impression ends up on a 3-wide chase, you could get in a situation where the race gets too fast. And if Manny Franco can get to the rail, and he's been pretty much on top of it, I do think she could overcome it. But they're going to have to be hitting pretty far up front. And if one of the 1 or 2 in particular gets the right aggressive ride and somehow clears the rail and doesn't go too fast, I think that horse is going to win. If that answers your question.
Yeah, look, 6-1 on one who's potentially the one who could be in front. I mean, first look, yeah, Problematica has the rails very fast. Jackie the Joker, though, obviously, that last race sort of an aberration. She's usually forward.
She's a horse that for a couple of years now, she's only been successful when forward. She was able to overcome it. It was a wet track, but she did it nonetheless. The horse that I'm shocked isn't a bigger price is Echo in Eternity. And you know I'm Bruce Levine's biggest fan, but basically she's too slow to win this race, and she's doomed by an outside post, and she's not a speed type. I'm shocked she's taking as much money as she is. She's the same price. Well, I think Best Decision is doomed by the post as well. It's very hard, and my one thing I'd say about this bias is get a price. Unless you just have some horse that's probably the best horse and looks like the controlling inside speed, as we saw in the first race today with an overwhelming favorite.
You know, the one you were talking about, the 8 Echo in Eternity, 4-1,
Right.
going to be awfully tough from that outside spot and with the lack of speed. Problematica, speed from the rail. Jackie the Joker, the 2, speed next door. Who will take command early? 6th from Aqueduct. Let's go to Chris Griffin for the call.
2 out, Best Impression. Echo in Eternity to the outside. Echo in Eternity is in. All set. And they're off. Slow beginning, Whistler Style. Fast beginning for Problematica. Hustle along right to the front, and Jackie the Joker will keep this one company. They're a quick 1-2. A neck advantage for Problematica towards the inside. Jackie the Joker, Ruben Silveras right there to keep up. A stalking and now challenging second. They are now 4 lengths in front of right there in third, Echo in Eternity. Just behind them is She's Cool. To the outside of that one, the red cap, it's Best Impression. Far, far back, the trailer, Whistler Style. 22.67 for the opening quarter mile, and Problematica is trying to shake loose and doing just that. Problematica hugs the rail, is up by 2. Jackie the Joker trying to keep up still from second. Echo in Eternity. A ground-saving journey is going to ride the rail here, is in third, about to challenge and take second after the leader. Problematica, Jamie Rodriguez, Problematica, approaching a quarter mile left to go, and they still have a comfortable margin so far. Here comes Echo in Eternity, down to the inside, is trying to rally on, now is going to switch to the 2 path as Problematica got over to the rail. Problematica, Echo in Eternity, in clear pursuit. Here comes She's Cool from out of the pack 2, and from way out of it, Whistler Styles trying to pass them all. Whistler Style was off slowly, was last, and Whistler Styles trying to get up. She's Cool, Whistler Style, She's Cool, Whistler Style, Whistler Style. Longest shot in the field, won it. Over She's Cool. Then came Echo in Eternity in 1 minute 20.14 seconds.
Whistler's Style as this race falls apart. And this one goes off at 14-1, biggest price on the board.
But you can see it right there. Christopher Elliott was on the rail for the first half mile of this race before angling out. He, the rider of the 5, Manny Franco, and a very good ride by Jose Lezcano to get to the rail with the 8, still couldn't get it done. But all of the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th horses, even though they closed outside, they all were on the rail until the stretch. And furthermore, this was what we talked about, 22.67. On this, for this quality of horse on this racetrack, they just went 6.5 furlongs in 1:20. That is absolutely flying out there. So because of the rail bias, Jamie Rodriguez did absolutely the right thing. Ruben Silvera wanted to go after with the number 2 in here, and in that situation, you know, you create such an unusually fast pace, and this horse got left. But it didn't matter going so fast up front, and Christopher got to the rail. Now, I'm surprised she won, and I thought my 5 should have won, and Manny did everything right to win the race. But having said that, You get these aberrational situations when you get these biases, which makes it even harder for players because riders are doing the right thing. But if you say, well, this race fell apart, what are you talking about bias? I'll say, well, all these horses that ran 1, 2, 3 were on the rail for 70% of the race.
Almost helped Whistler's style with that break today, and he was never going to be close. He's always
right.
a mile back. She, 8-year-old mare. 14-1. Christopher Elliott, son of Stewart, Smarty Jones fame. 4-5-8-1 finish. And the biggest price on the board from the clouds to get the victory.
I picked her second now that I'm looking at my picks, actually.
Horse racing losing one of its most dearly beloved trainers. We'll have more on the passing of John Shirreffs when we come back. Back with you on our Friday coverage. Whistler's style. Moving fast up front, sets it up for a horse who did not get out well, was never going to be close early anyway. And Christopher Elliott takes advantage.
Hey, really gave this horse a very good ride. After he got left, he didn't panic. He dropped over the fence and he waited and hoped he got a little bit lucky. Well, he got some help up front, and sometimes you got to be a little lucky, but he put himself in a position to get lucky. And that's the best thing you can ask from any rider, especially riding long shots.
Whistler's style, 8-year-old mare. 9 wins now, 59 career starts for Emron Ibrahim.
Compare this ride to what we were talking about in the prior race, where the rider stayed out in the 5-path the whole way around the backstretch and turn. This horse stayed on the rail, and Christopher angled out in the stretch, giving the best chance. If he had been out in the middle of the racetrack on the turn, this horse never would have won.
Up next, race 7 at Aqueduct, 7 furlongs, New York breds. Allowance optional claiming field. And 4-5 Sheriff Bianco taking a sizable drop in class for Linda Rice.
I picked Sheriff Bianco, would rather book the horse at this price.
Yeah, odds on Ruben Silvera for Linda Rice. And an interesting horse, I thought, in rolling dough coming off a long layoff.
Yeah, and the way Amelia Green's barn's going, I wouldn't dismiss any horse of hers.
Very sad news, as we talked about going to break. It was just yesterday announced that John Shirreffs, trainer of the great Zenyatta, the only filly or mare to beat the boys in the Breeders' Cup Classic, of course, Baeza, who he trained to third-place finishes this year in the Kentucky Derby, Belmont Stakes, winning the Pennsylvania Derby, passed away in his sleep at the age of 80. Those who knew him, we're going to talk to Mig, too, who rode for him throughout his career, universally loved by those who rode for him, worked for him, always put the horse first.
You know, you see in the sentiments from so many people in racing with John passing away, everybody had a very similar thing to say about him. You know, he was just, you feel lucky to have known him at all. And, you know, I got to know him a little bit when he trained here for a few years. He'd come here during the summer. And, you know, he would text me sometimes and say, I'm watching the show. You guys are doing a great job. And he's just supportive. Ran him the sales sometimes, and always a pleasure to see him. And obviously his exploits as a trainer, he needs no introduction. The guy's a great trainer. But it's more than that. It's the kind of person he was. And everybody to a person that had contact and dealt with him had the same things to say about him. A very positive influence on the game who will be missed.
And it was that patience as a trainer that, I don't know, maybe no one else could have done it. 19 wins in a row with Zenyatta, where during that time, 2009, 2010, he became just an incredible ambassador to this game with what he, not just the winning streak, but how he had instructed Mike Smith, too, to have her come by the grandstand after wins and let the fans enjoy what she was doing coming to the barn. Let's send it out to Hot Springs. Mig, your thoughts on the passing of someone who was so universally loved in this sport?
Well, the game lost a great friend. I personally lost a great friend. As warm, kind, thoughtful a human being as you're ever going to meet. An incredible horseman. Never had a program, tailored each horse's training to their needs and trying to figure out how to get them to the races and to the winner's circle. Not just physically fit, but mentally fit. He really had his own way about things. Loved the history of the game. I would get books every now and then from him in the mail, you know, from his vast collection of historical racing books. And I would read it. I'd send it back. We would have great conversations about it. And a lot of people don't know this. He was a Marine. He saw combat in Vietnam. He served his country with honor. And as good and a fine a person as I've ever known. And it just really hit me hard yesterday because it was just so unexpected. Now, some people say, well, he was 80 years old, but he was as youthful an 80-year-old as you've ever met. And he will be deeply, deeply missed.
Trainer of the tremendous Zenyatta, also won that 2009, of course, Breeders' Cup Classic, but also won the Breeders' Cup Ladies Classic that year with Life is Sweet. That incredible upset, the Kentucky Derby with Giacomo.
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, you have to be careful, and I'm not saying you're doing, you know, just say, you know, trainer of Zenyatta, and obviously everybody knows Zenyatta, and there's John had a lot of other great successes on the racetrack, and you know, it's funny. I used to do the radio show in Saratoga at the Parting Glass, and he was on one night, and he told me he's never watched that Breeders' Cup Classic again, where Zenyatta lost. And I've heard this from other trainers with good horses of theirs that lost to very tough races, as she did that day. But he was, listen, everybody has similar things to say about John, and they're all positive. In a game where it's not always that easy to find people with that many positive things to say, yeah. John was universally loved for good reason.
John Shirreffs absolutely will be missed, passes away at the age of 80.
Say hello to Move. It's a one-horse race, very professional and very fast. Move, rolling home by 4 in fine style.
Muth, the son of good magic, coming down the stretch at Hot Springs to win it.
You bet with Naira Bets. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Download the Naira Bets app to play today and get a $200 deposit bonus. Watch live horse racing. Get expert picks. Boost your bankroll with weekly promotions and hone your handicapping skills with exclusive tips and tutorials. Download the Naira Bets app now. Sign up now to claim your $200 deposit match bonus. You bet with Naira Bets.
Prince of Monaco's too good for Moose, an impressive winner of the best pal. Miramondi's all hot, but Prince of Monaco too good.
Prince of Monaco, standing at Claiborne Farm.
This winter, give the gift of racing with Naira Bets gift card. Share your passion with friends and family or instantly fund your account. Choose the amount and redeem online. Find gift cards under the promotions tab at NairaBets.com. The Belmont Stakes Racing Festival returns for the final time to historic Saratoga Racecourse. Don't miss the Belmont Festival at Saratoga. June 3rd through 7th. Secure your place in history at BelmontStakes.com.
Welcome back to America's Day at the Races. I'm Richard McLeary, joined by Megan Burgess, and the horses are on the track for race 6, a real competitive 12-5 claimer. And he's one of those handicapping conundrums, and let's get through the post-parade, Megan.
Yeah, I have a Salivo on my mind here. I'm craving some pasta. I don't know about you, Richie.
Well, and you like Salivo a little bit as well.
I do. I think this horse has a tactical ability with that inside draw, plenty of speed in front of him.
The 2 Ravenstown for Dan Ward.
Another one that's speed and does climb up in class after a near miss last time out.
Number 3, Cravensworth, bit of a long shot.
Bit of a long shot, has to get faster for a barn that's not great in these spots off of the layoff.
Number 4, Easy Fast.
Closer and could get the right kind of setup coming from off of things.
Mighty Message, certainly lending some pace to this affair.
Going to be a forward. Last time out was and just got gassed and tired late.
The 6, our Bucky Chom, now ridden by Ron Huckabee.
I think this horse is worth taking a look at. Comes off of the layoff, been consistent, and does have better turf form overall, though, I would say.
And here is the 7, String Theory.
I like this horse. I think he'll be tactically placed. Comes off, second off of a pretty decent performance last time out.
Here's the 8, Chun Money with Walter Dela Cruz.
Second off of the layoff, drops in class, and kind of a handier type tactically.
And here's the 9, 5th Avenue.
Yeah, right around that 7-2 where he was on the morning line. Again, speedy will be a part of that pace.
And number 10, Walleye, off the claim from the Asmussen barn. Big effort last time.
Yeah, is it a bounce back candidate? Big 81 Beyer speed figure last out.
Ben Franklin with Rafael Bejarano.
Like the cutback in distance, has the speed in front of him as a horse that likes to come from off of things.
A big full field here in race 6 as we head back to the desk in New York.
Mig, thanks. Yeah, race 7 is what we have next for you. 7 furlongs, New York Preds. This allowance optional claiming field where Vibrant Express, even money favorite on the rail. Speed from the inside, who has won 3 in a row from the barn of George Weaver.
There's a part of me that wants him to win here and take advantage of the bias because I think he's about as dressed up a horse as you could possibly find in racing. I thought he took advantage of a bias 2 races back. I think he's been extremely fortunate in his races, and I don't think he even remotely classes up to this field. But given the bias, unless either the 7 horse or the 9 horse go on a mission against him, he might be the controlling speed and the track can carry him home. I don't like him on a fair race track at all. He's crushed, though, in the pick 3s, which I find interesting, but I think that's a function of the bias.
Let's go down to Maggie.
Yeah, we'll take a look here at your even money favorite in the paddock, Vibrant Express, looking for his 4th win in a row. Yes, it's not easy to do that, even if you are taking advantage of biases just to keep a horse in this type of form. A horse who, it was noted that he bled visibly first time out, just to keep him going like this, which I think the cold weather is obviously his opportune time, as horses that are known to bleed struggle more with the hot weather than the cold weather, but he's his typical self. He's very aggressive here in the paddock, has even gotten a little bit hot and washy under the collar, but if he wasn't like that, I'd be concerned. So he is his typical Vibrant express self. So we'll take a look here at some horses coming in off layoffs, including over a year and a half layoff for number 7, Roland in Doe, for Amelia Green, who prior to that long extended layoff was pretty good, all things considered. I thought last time, way back in May of 2024, he was incredibly game, and he could pose a threat depending on how fresh he is and how quick he is, or at least just make it a little uncomfortable for your favorite in here, because he has shown the ability to be forward. Now, looking at him here in the paddock, he looks incredibly fit and strong, considering that time away from the racetrack. Wish he was striding out maybe a little bit better here in the paddock. And also, with that being said, wish this race wasn't 7 furlongs. 6 furlongs would be much more suitable to Roland in Doe here for Amelia Green, making his first start for the barn. Moving on to number 9, Factually Correct for Fernando Abreu. Look, he's had back-to-back avoided claim efforts here, and I do think he was a little bit against the racetrack last time out on December 10th, where he was chasing a fast pace while wide. He's a horse that sometimes I've seen struggled to carry his weight or not look particularly well in his coat, but it does feel like Nappy brings him back here looking really well turned out, really bright disposition here. So one of the better times I've seen him, it feels like maybe giving him a bit of a break has been to his liking. Greg?
All right, Maggie, thank you. Even money remains on that Rail Runner Vibrant Express. We'll have the post break when we come back, as we head to Oaklawn post time coming up for race 6.
Well, the horses have already warmed up, Megan, and we were taking a look at some of them on the racetrack, a few making very nice physical impressions, but you landed on the one, Saliva.
I did, not just because I'm craving a crispy chicken cutlet, but because I think this horse tactically fits in this race on the drop-in class, coming down to that 12.5 level after bumping up against some of those $20,000 non-winners of 2, non-winners of 3 lifetime. And this horse always seems to run a very similar race, very consistent, does sport a win here at Oaklawn Park. But I will say this, tactically, I think you want a horse to kind of come off of things. There's a lot of speed signed on. This is a large group. And while Eric Asmussen is going to have to negotiate a trip likely out of the pocket coming from off of things, I think that he is well in hand to be able to do so. He knows this horse and has ridden him back to that victory there at Oaklawn Park earlier on in the meet. So I think he has the right kind of setup to come. The question is he going to be able to find a way out when it counts?
Well, he's going to have to work his way through traffic. But I have to say, Eric Asmussen is riding so well. You can see how high his confidence level is. Delivered a great ride earlier in the day, a win for his father. And he's having fun. And when riders are having fun, horses feed on energy. They feed on positive energy as well as they'll feed on negative energy. And I'm just seeing so much physical improvement from Eric. And obviously, he's just riding in really good form.
Your Eclipse Award champion apprentice, I believe 2 years ago now, and surely has the talent through his lineage, of course, his dad, riding for his dad here. And I agree with you. You know, he really has morphed into a different rider than when we first saw him get to Oaklawn Park.
Just much, much stronger. I wound up on the 10 Wall-Eye, who is claimed from the Asmussen barn last time. I thought that this horse has enough tactical speed, but that outside post gives him the luxury of maybe finding more of a stalking trip, because I agree with you. I think there's a lot of speed in here. The 2 Ravenstown made a great impression in the warm-up, as did, you pointed out, the 12, Ben Franklin.
Yeah, you see up there on the tote board, 7-2, taking favoritism will give you an idea of how wide open I believe this race to be. The number 12, Ben Franklin, is another that will be cutting back into, coming from off of things, 2 back, a nice race there. But I love the cutback for him, getting back to sprinting where I do think he's best as a closing sprinter.
Okay, horses loading up in orderly fashion. No one giving the assistant starters any hard time. Nobody balking. Everybody looks like they've come to run. Let's head upstairs to Matt Dinnerman for the call of race 6.
While I in the yellow cap. Mighty Message. And to the outside post, Ben Franklin. Here's Ben Franklin walking up to the gate. Still working with Ben Franklin. We're ready to go. And they're off. Awkward break from post 8. Chun Money was the one who had to slam on the brakes early. Cravensworth off a little bit slowly as well. Mighty Message is on the lead. 5th Avenue, quick, has a neck in front to the inside. Mighty Message sticking to him. These two square off down the backstretch run. They put 2 lengths on Arbucky Charm, who runs in 3rd. Ravenstown to the inside, and Wildeye, who's 3 deep. Gap of 2 to String Theory racing alone. He's 3 better than Chun Money approaching the turn. Ben Franklin sent along hard outside of him as they go into that far turn run. Cravensworth, Salivo, they're next, and Easy Fast is at the rear as they round the far turn. 5th Avenue opens up, and Mighty Message calls it a day. He's done. 5th Avenue at 5-1 leads the parade, hitting the quarter pole. Ravenstown comes on to scene in the second. Tips outside for the stretch drive. Our Bucky Charm alongside of him as they come off the turn. It's 5th Avenue who hugs the rail. Outside Ravenstown right there with him. Ravenstown with a head in front, but inside 5th Avenue is fighting back here. Ravenstown, 5th Avenue side by side. Furlong to go. These two together with Ben Franklin chasing. Coming to the finish. Ben Franklin's lunging after Ravenstown, who's got a head in front. Here comes the founding father, Ben Franklin. It's tight. Ben Franklin, Ravenstown on the line together with 5th Avenue, who checked in 3rd, and then String Theory.
Another terrific finish here in race 6 at Oaklawn Park. Ravenstown trying to hold up. Ben Franklin coming with that final lunge with Rafael Bejarano, and he worked out an incredible trip, the 12 Ben Franklin, from post 12. He got that inside-out trip. Tough angle here. Who do you think got it?
Ooh, it's a tough angle. I'm subconsciously hoping the 12 gets it, just coming from off of things, but it's close. It kind of looks like from here the 2 perhaps got it as the 12 galloped out in front of those 2 foes on the front end. But the pace held in here. You can see the 12 maneuvering his way through horses. Great ride there, and it's tough. And it's always nice to see these horses, these cheaper horses, duel late and be game like that late.
Great race. We'll get the photo finish when we come back, guys. We got to head to Aqueduct. I think you guys got horses on the racetrack.
Yeah, our post parade here coming up. Mig, thank you. And we'll start with this speedster who's trying to win 4 in a row for trainer George Weaver here at Vibrant Express.
Yeah, on a fair racetrack, I would be all in against this horse. I still don't totally trust him, but he is the controlling inside speed, probably.
Bill Morey Barn with Barry Funny.
I like this one on a fair racetrack, and hopefully he can work out a trip with Manny staying inside, as Manny has been attuned to the racetrack.
Drop in class for Linda Rice's Sheriff Bianco.
Linda finally gets to drop this horse. She's tried several times, and the horse has been scratched. I think he's the best horse in the race, but can he get the right trip?
Back for his 8-year-old debut. Here is Dolly's Bank, 2 for 25 lifetime.
Just not good enough to beat these.
Master Freud does possess some speed.
At one time, he had some decent form with these, but I just don't know if he's as good in the dirt anymore. He's better on the turf.
Roland Doe, 3 starts, but he hasn't started since May of 24.
Total wild card with a horse who also has speed, but he could be chasing outside off the long layoff for a very live barn.
Some big figures at Parks for run and score.
Not my cup of tea closing in this race, but you're right, out of town, okay.
And factually correct, used to have a lot of speed, not really the case anymore.
If he drew the rail and the 1 drew the 9 post, I'd bet on factually correct, but he may be doomed to an outside chase, which is not helpful on this racetrack.
2 minutes to post here in the 7th. It's this one right here, Vibrant Express. Trying to win 4 in a row, 7-5 favorite. It's been favored throughout and has been, with the exception of a stumble out of the gate 2 back, in front every single time he's been on the racetrack.
Yeah, I understand why people are betting him. I understand he may win. And it's the difference between handicapping and then dealing with a bias. I'm going to have to play. At this price, I'm going to have to bet the 3 to win and box 2-3 because I don't like this horse. But I'm probably going to lose because he's probably going to ride a gold rail to victory.
Let's go down to Maggie.
Talking about number 3 in here, that is Sheriff Bianco. The class of horse that he has faced recently compared to these is next level. I mean, you're talking about eventual stakes and graded stakes winners foreseeably in Knightsbridge and BU. Sheriff Bianco is never one that has obviously not obviously, but has never really grabbed my attention per se with his appearance. He never looks particularly well turned out in his coat, but today, I don't know, maybe it's just the right spot at the right time. He looks great. He's moving incredibly well out there on the racetrack with Ruben Silveira back in the irons. I just think this is the right spot for him to take advantage of. And I know that perceivably that number one in here, Vibrant Express, is with the racetrack, but I do think that there's a possibility the layoff runner, who isn't taking much money at all, Roland Indo, is a presence. As I circle back to him, I mentioned in the paddock, I didn't love the way he just kind of seemed short-strided on these rubber blocks that we have in the paddock here. But once he got on track, Jamie Rodriguez really gave him a nice warm-up, and he kind of strode on a bit more, indicating that he's a little bit freer than what I saw from him in the paddock. But with that warm-up in mind, I do think this guy is going to be forward off the bench.
I think that's very valuable information. I mean, he's a speed horse, and you would think they would go. And I think that the riders are starting to be, most of them, not all of them, most of them are sort of, you see Jamie Rodriguez, how aggressive he was in the last race to secure and keep that rail position. So I do think he'll try to go. Now, whether or not, and I'm not that Maggie's saying this, whether or not he can outrun the one, well, that's a whole different story. But what Maggie's saying, and I appreciate it and I tend to agree, he could put enough pressure on the one that we see a situation like we saw in the last race. And he's got to get 7 furlongs, Vibrant Express. And I know he did last time, but the horses out of his last race, the second horse came back and ran 17 buyer points worse in his next start. The third place finisher ran 10 buyer points worse and then 15 buyer points worse. The fourth horse came back and ran 13 buyer points worse. To me, that's indicative of a race that is nowhere near as good as it looks on paper. Having said that, he may have the racetrack in his favor, but at this price, even on this track, I have to bet against him.
Yeah, short price, see if he can keep things going. I do think that the 6 is going to try and push for the front end here, too.
I do not, but okay. I don't believe that'll happen, but okay.
Turf sprint speed.
I don't believe this horse has the same kind of speed anymore. I think the most likely are the 7 and 9 to push this horse, but who knows? I mean, you know, maybe you'll get a rider with that kind of intention.
Short price is not left Vibrant Express.
Well, I mean, there is a general feeling that he is the inside speed, which I see. And make no mistake, the betting on this track is very reflective of the bias. I mean, people understand what's going on here. It's so in our face. And there's no reason they shouldn't be. You know, this is a sophisticated betting public, whether it involves the regular bettors or the CAWs. People are sophisticated, especially betting the races in New York.
On a different kind of racetrack, if it weren't playing like this too, would run and score the 8 ever become interesting to you? It's just, obviously the form would have to transfer to New York, but some huge races at Parks, including the last start, a win. I know it was for $25,000.
No, I still don't think the horse is good enough, but you probably have better figures on Thoroughgraphs than I do on the numbers that I look at.
7-1 right now, but yeah, he's not one that's necessarily going to be forward here. There he is. Can Vibrant Express from the rail make it 4 straight and he's even money? Chris Griffin, the call.
Here comes Dolly's Bank. Factually correct to the outside. Goes in. All set. And they're off. Hopping in the air at the start was Very Funny. Speed from Vibrant Express right to the front. Plenty of company from the speedy, factually correct. These two head and head together. It's factually correct with a nose in front. Vibrant Express is right there, and joining them is Master Freud from third. Back there in fourth is going to be Rollin' Indo, and Run and Score wider is there in fifth. At the rail, Barry Funny's recovered. Second to last will be Sheriff Bianco with the trailer. Dolly's Bank, 23.09 for the opening quarter mile. Vibrant Express and factually correct, trying to slow things down as they work towards that far turn. Very Funny is now on heels. Manny Franco has taken the third spot, had to work to get there, is shoved along now. Outside of them comes Master Freud in fourth. Sheriff Bianco's trying to run on, Run and Score, out wider with Rollin' Indo. The trailer is Dolly's Bank. 46.42, a half mile time, and still 4 of them tightly packed together as they approach a quarter mile left to go. Vibrant Express looks to have put away Factually Correct, and Vibrant Express kicks for home. It's Vibrant Express trying to open up on the field. Barry Funny is right there. Master Freud down the center of the racetrack as they continue to chase this leader. Factually Correct battles on. It's still Vibrant Express. Barry Funny's just grinding there in second, is a lone second, and cannot catch this leader. Vibrant Express with the 16th left to go. Vibrant Express. That's your winner. Vibrant Express will win it over Barry Funny. Then came Master Freud and Factually Correct in 1 minute 24.71 seconds.
4 in a row for Vibrant Express. It looked going in. That would very likely be the case. Public bet that one this way with the way this track is playing. Certainly helped them today.
Compare the fact that this horse was able to get a first quarter, even with some pressure, in over 23 seconds. And the last race, horses that are many lengths inferior to these went 22.67, showing you how fast the pace was and how slow the pace was in relative terms here. Congratulations, he won his 4th straight. I don't think he'll win another race in 2026, and I think he is setting up to be one of the greatest bet against in history the next time he runs. And this is a good example of going forward. You're going to find a lot of horses to bet against and a lot of horses to bet on that have been compromised by this bias. And this horse, I think this horse exemplifies that as much as any horse in the grounds. He's got 4 straight. I tip my hat to him. But if you don't think this racetrack carried this horse down, you're not paying attention.
These are the days, to your point, very important. If you're handicapping, you're going to be playing later in the meet, later this summer. Mark these days down.
Yep.
Yes.
Or look at the track trends.
Yeah. Even money. Vibrant Express, 4 in a row now. George Weaver, Eric Cancel, Randy Hill Stable. Son of a Comb with a win now, 4 for 5. And all of those back to back to back to back. 1, 2, 6, 9. Prices when we come back. And a finalist for the Sovereign Award, which he won back in 2024. The Saheen Savachi story when we come back. We're back on our Friday coverage, America's Day at the Races here on Fox Sports 2. It's brought to you in part by Hillendale at Alapa. And we just saw the 7th. Vibrant Express, Eric Cancel, George Weaver, Randy Hill, riding this forward favoring racetrack to victory.
I don't know that I would call it forward favoring. I really think it's the rail. I really think it's giving these horses an advantage, but I think that it's also being inside as much as speed, if not, in my opinion, more. I'm at a wit's end, having seen 6 straight days of
Well, yeah,
this.
I mean, before these horses are getting downside to getting to the rail.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
that's what it makes it look forward, because they're getting the rail and they're inside. And I mean, horses that are chasing outside, they're just, you see them, horses that are chasing outside are just falling apart. Falling apart.
$4.22 for the victory. Very funny, Master Freud complete the trifecta. But public did not want to deviate from what has been the trend.
I don't blame them.
And they were correct. Race 8, 7 furlongs. 17,000 claiming race. It is for horses who only have a maiden win, so non-winners of 2 life. And Prime fans all over Give Me My Theme music. Miguel Clement and the man aboard.
Well, it's supposed to be the speed here, which will get him home.
Man aboard. That is Saheen Savachi, and at Woodbine, he rose to the top, winning the Sovereign Award as the nation's top rider in 2024. He's again nominated for that award, just announced recently. Now he has returned to New York to again chase his dream of thriving on the most competitive jockey colony there is in the sport.
I have 2 brothers. I'm the middle child. We were born in Vancouver, British Columbia. My father passed away when I was 4. We stayed in Canada for a little longer. My mom decided to move back to Turkey when I was 11, and that's when we went back to Turkey. I loved school when I was in Canada, but when I went to Turkey, it was a lot more difficult, especially learning the language. Making friends was easy. I had a good time making friends. They play soccer a lot. My feet just didn't work for soccer. My mom remarried, and my stepfather, you know, he guided me to the path. He asked me if I wanted to become a jockey. I didn't know what that was. He showed me on TV. I liked what I saw, and I said, yeah, I'll do it. My time in the Turkish Jockey Club, jockey school, was really good. It was 2 years of training, and we have around 20, 30 horses that the students get on. We saddle them, we clean their stalls, we feed them. My time was very nice there. I did professionally ride in Turkey for a few years. I went to Sydney, got a job with James Bart Cummings. I was an exercise rider. After a little while, I missed Canada. Had the thought of riding in Vancouver. I heard they had a racetrack. I didn't really study it much. I just went back to Vancouver, see some friends. I got into racing there. Small track, but you get used to it, you know. It's a good place to start and learn.
Calgary keeper to win it.
I never make a move before I think I'm ready. So I watched some races in Woodbine. I decided to make that move in 2019.
Candy Quest coming very dangerously for Saheen Savachi. Mark Cassie trained Candy Quest has gone to the lead in the Ontario Colleen. What a run.
2024 was my best year yet. I was very fortunate to get good connections, good horses. You know, I was ready for a change. After a while staying in Woodbine, I wanted a change. I talked to my family. We made the decision to permanently stay in New York. We're happy about the move so far.
Running away, Saheen Savachi. They win the Busanda.
I have a lot to learn still. The track is on the deep side here on the winter. I just need to get adjusted to that. Over the years, I've always tried to understand horses. When I get on them, I try to feel them out, you know, slowly, what triggers them, what keeps them happy. You just know what's gonna cause them to freak out or what's gonna cause them to calm down. Competition is good, but you know, we keep it friendly. It's part of being an athlete. You know, you gotta push your limits and you gotta focus on winning. Outside the track, we're generally very nice to each other, especially in New York. That's what I realized. Everybody's nice to each other. When I make a mistake in a race, I learned not to dwell on it. I think it carries forward to the next race and it prevents you from performing. I'll fix it next time. I would love to try out Saratoga and see where everything takes me. I'm with my agent, Mike Celito, so we would decide together what's the best move for our future.
'24 Sovereign Award winner, again nominated this year, and came to New York last year, interrupted with an injury. That happened again this year, but now he's back on track.
Yeah, last year was a back issue, right, that really sort of curtailed what was a tremendous start here and riding very well. This year, unfortunately, I think he got involved in an incident. Fortunately, he came back, and he's a very promising and talented rider, no doubt about it.
And what do you think of the one he'll ride here? Give me my theme music.
Well, on paper, he's the fastest horse early in a race without much speed.
Big drop, too.
And if Saheen is paying attention, he's going to come out firing. I don't love him. He's a big drop down. There's some negatives, but if he clears the lead, he's likely to win. I like Come Full Circle. He's just a hard horse to make getting the right kind of trip on this racetrack, so I won't be betting on him, even though he's my pick, because he's on this racetrack. He can't win, and he's not going to be a big price.
Shocking he's that number, considering
right
the way the track is playing. We're going to take a timeout. We'll be back. More coming up. We are, 14 minutes to post here in the 8th from New York, and the 7th coming up from Oaklawn when we return.
Look at these two juveniles going at it, and it is Forte.
It is Forte in front. Forte on to victory here in the Grade 1 hopeful.
The two of them coming down to the wire. Forte on the outside, and Forte to win the Breeders' Cup Juvenile.
Forte starts to gather in the top horses. This is going to be very close, but the champion prevails. Forte wins.
Join analysts Matthew DeSantis and Kaylee Shapiro on the road to the Kentucky Derby and Kentucky Oaks. Get picks and analysis for all the prep races and gain insight into promising contenders on the trail to the Derby and Oaks. That and more on the Naira Bets YouTube channel. Saturday, defending champion Forever Young returns to face a star-studded field in the Saudi Cup. A win and you're in for the Breeders' Cup Classic. Undercard kicks off Saturday morning, 8 a.m. Eastern on FS2, followed by the Saudi Cup noon Eastern on FS1.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. RTN has packages that start at $5 per month.
America's Day at the Races. Horses are on the track for race 7. Got a post break coming up. The 1, Ayuka Miss was scratched. Here is the 2, Hot Springs Bling.
Doesn't have a ton of speed. Will need to take a big step up in this field.
And number 3, Smart with Heart.
Solid works off the layoff where she was eased last time out.
And the 4, Sicilian Grandma, probably named for my wife, Carmela.
Outran her odds last time out. We'll see if she can do it again.
5 was a late scratch as well, Mercy Warren, but on to number 6, Factor That.
Interesting dropping down in class and has some early speed.
Number 7, Tartaria.
This horse was kind of interesting. Was tracked more forwardly last time out. I agree that she'll be more tactical.
Number 8, Miss Jeopardy. I'm a big Jeopardy fan. Play Jeopardy every night.
How did I know? This horse is second off of the layoff with a win last time out against some familiar faces in here.
Number 9, Wreaking Havoc.
Lacked some real run in both starts off of the layoff.
Your favorite, number 10, Summer of Mischief under Tyler Bacon.
Looks to be the controlling speed and like what I saw from this horse on track.
The 11 was also a late scratch on to number 12, Chasing Shadows.
Big price, but also takes a big drop down in class, finding friends here.
And the one also eligible drawing into the race, number 13, Singing Emma.
Yeah, interesting, but also well beaten in and around this level, both here and at Will Rogers down last time out.
Well, also last race, we forgot to bring you the results of that photo finish, and it was number 2, Ravenstown, holding off Ben Franklin, who was languishing towards the back of the pack before the light bulb went on.
Right, and it was interesting because, like I said, we knew there was going to be a good amount of speed listed. Both of these horses forwardly placed. We saw the 12 come from off of things, getting a good trip, saving ground early, then weaving in between horses with a good run. So one to look back and bet back on as your tepid favorite, I believe, at post time. But nice to see Ravenstown holding with speed. Luis Saez gets the win and will also be aboard the number 2, Esternia, coming up later in the American Beauty.
Yeah, the horse that you like in the American Beauty, but get back to race 7 here. And another, I thought, handicapping conundrum. Where'd you land?
I thought this was a tough race and one where it's $12,000, non-winners of 2 since July the 13th. But I thought that the 5 that scratched was interesting. The number 8, Miss Jeopardy, I think, just has that tactical forward speed coming off of a win.
Well, we got about 4 minutes to post here at Oaklawn. Time enough to head back to Maggie Wolfendale in the paddock at Aqueduct.
Thanks, Meg. As we'll take a look here at your heavy favorite in the paddock, Give Me My Theme Music. Now, I have yet to cover any of his races prior to this one, as he is getting the blinkers on today. He didn't wear them into the paddock, and I didn't get to see what they were going to put on him yet. Looks like it's going to be a short cup cheater blinker, as he does turn back just a little bit from the mile to the 7/8. I do like that. He's a bit more of a compact type of individual, but as I said, I've never seen him before. I honestly wish he looked just a bit more tucked up. He is a guy that seems to carry his conditioning quite well, as he was shipped down to Payson and then brought back up here to New York for this prohibitive drop in class. But otherwise, definitely looks like a horse that will be formidable in this spot. As we'll move on to number 7, Come Full Circle, coming off a bit of a layoff for him too. And, you know, I thought he ran okay last time out. It was a day in which, kind of similar to what we're dealing with here on this occasion, with the rail and speed being quite dangerous. His leading role was able to wire the field, and he was really far back early, and he was wide around the far turn. He did rally well through the stretch at a big number that day here for Bob Dunham. He's been a little obstreperous to get the tack on, but has settled nicely since they opted to do him outside the stalls with the pony. But I've always kind of liked this horse, and just thought that his last race at this level would be promising and could make him dangerous in the spot, as he's another one that the blinkers are going on. Another short cup cheater blinker here for Come Full Circle. Meg, what's going on at Oaklawn?
Yeah, thanks, Maggie. And horses are about 2 minutes away to post for race 7. And we both had a little bit of interest in the 7, Tartaria, from our friend and colleague Tom Amos.
Yeah, this horse has been, was a near miss last time out, in for 15, now drops in tag. And last time out was 5 wide and then missed late. And I thought that, given the tactical ability, it just makes so much sense in here. Is consistent, still looking for a first win at Oaklawn Park, but just from an overall profile standpoint, I just thought this race was so tough. I think there's 4 or 5 horses in here, Meg, that you could sort through and make a case for.
Yeah, listen, I thought her, coming, dropping again in class after a good effort for 15 at Fairgrounds, coming back to Oaklawn when she faced much tougher last time. Just outside of her is number 8, Miss Jeopardy. I think that if things heat up on the front end, because the turn back she comes from off the pace, it's going to aid her cause.
It will. And second off the layoff, she put in a strong work there on February the 6th. And a lot of these horses missed some training time and then were able to get back into training last weekend, that February 7th, 8 range. And this horse was able to do that second off. But my question is, with the number 8, is while she's ultra consistent, she's 2 for 4 here at Oaklawn Park. That was seemingly a really, really good effort first off of the bench. Is she going to regress or still hold that form?
Well, and the fact is that she's 1 for the 12-5 level, where you've got got other horses dropping down to that 12-5 level. And obviously your favorite fits that profile, number 10, Summer of Mischief, who was in a pitched battle with Filly Crystal for $25,000. Billy Crystal went on to win an allowance race in her next start, and this filly is now dropping in half from $25,000 to $12,500.
I think it's huge. And I believe tactically the thing to do with this horse, Tyler Bacon, is to just send her from the outside, try to get to that comfortable lead that she likes to reside in on the front end. And while sometimes, often not, she can be a bit unreliable, she always, in all 6 of her starts here at Oaklawn, has hit the board, or 2 for 6, but has hit the board in every single start. So she gets over the surface well. And as you mentioned, coming out of a live race where Filly Crystal came back to win in a really tough allowance race last week. So we'll see if she can just get to the front end, get cozy, and wire this field. That would be the approach with her.
Tyler Bacon, last season's leading apprentice jockey here, went to Prairie Meadows for the summer, had a terrific summer. Feel like his confidence level isn't as high as it needs to be. I hope he has a couple winners, kind of set him back on the right track.
Yeah, and at the same time, I think, he's got 5 wins to his credit this meet, and considering the depth and quality, it's very much a different complexion of a jockey colony than what he walked into last meet. You have the likes of Joel Rosario, Ricardo Santana's obviously going back to New York now, but Luis Saez, the room is much tougher, and it really does. You have to work for more opportunities, and Tyler, while in your brain, it's a psychological warfare sometimes when it comes to being a jockey and fighting for those opportunities, I do think that he's holding his own against a much tougher group here.
I would agree with you. The 4, Sicilian Grandma, quickly. A horse that we both have a little interest in, and it's a big price at 15-1.
Why not, right? Especially in these types of races. She's second off of the layoff, but my prime issue with her is she's never been able to edge out a win at Oaklawn. Let's see if that Canterbury form can translate here.
Okay, we got about 4 horses left to load. Time to send it up to Matt Dinnerman with the call of race 7 here at Oaklawn Park.
Post position number 7, and then to the outside, Singing Emma to round out the field. Singing Emma going into the gate, and the red, white, and blue silks about to come up here, and then we'll be ready to go here. Looks like they're all set. And we're off. Slow break from Sicilian Grandma. Factor that going to the lead. Summer of Mischief has speed too. From the far outside, Singing Emma is not far off. Summer of Mischief is quickest. Leads the way from Singing Emma in second. Tartaria third. Factor that to the inside. Within 3 lengths of the lead. There's a gap of 6 to Wreaking Havoc. Then comes Smart with Heart, who's down on the rails. 7 behind with Miss Jeopardy approaching the far turn run. Chasing Shadows just past her. Hot Springs Bling the Gray is second to last now, and Sicilian Grandma is at the tail end of this field. Can see them all as they round the far turn. Summer of Mischief flees from the scene, opens up 3, and says, come and catch me if you can. Singing Emma in an all-out drive with Tartaria, who attempts to get closer. Miss Jeopardy on the move in 4th, gaining ground. Going to get to the outside for the stretch drive. Summer of Mischief went fast early. Let's see what she's got for the final 3/16. Leads by 2. In chase mode now is Tartaria, gaining gradually. Far outside, Miss Jeopardy coming on. Furlong to go. Summer of Mischief holding on at the moment. Tartaria second. Miss Jeopardy continues to come on as well. Summer of Mischief narrowly ahead of Tartaria and Miss Jeopardy. It's a driving finish, and it's going to be real tight. Miss Jeopardy on the outside got it. Miss Jeopardy over Tartaria, Summer of Mischief, and Singing Emma.
And it looked like in another photo finish here at Oaklawn Park, really good competitive racing, that Miss Jeopardy might have got up in the shadow of the wire.
As I anticipated, the number 10 being sent for the lead, holding on as long as she could by the charges of the 7 and the 8, who we also discussed. But Mick, I thought this was a competitive card just on these lower level claimers from the first glance, and it has certainly materialized to be as such. 2 back-to-back photo finishes here at Oaklawn.
Yeah, and listen, the favorite, Summer of Mischief, she went quick, but that's her style, and she gave it all she had. Bottomed out a little bit late. The 7, Tartaria, another terrific ride from Rafael Bejarano. That inside-out trip, he's been hitting those inside-out trips nice, and it looked like he might get there. But then here comes Amir Mendoza with the last run, an apprentice that has been impressing me here.
He's been on fire, and kudos to Jose Santos Jr. and his team. And Gennaro Garcia, one win closer to that benchmark, that a milestone, 1,000 North American wins. He's getting closer.
Big number for trainers, certainly. Let's head back to New York as race 8 is warming up on the racetrack.
Mig, thank you. There's the man we showed you the feature on, Saheen Savachi, and that's the 2-1 favor right now. Give me my theme music with that big drop in class and should be forward.
He does need to break. Got left last time, broke about a length and a half slow, and, is obviously running against horses in a different galaxy than these. Now it's a negative drop down. Obviously, Miguel, this is a horse that was coming off of a 9-month layoff. Didn't run that badly considering the start, and now is in for 17.5, likely to get claimed. I imagine there will be several claims in this horse. A New York bred that still has his non-winners of 1 condition. And frankly, with a clean break, he's likely to be in front in this race, and you would think Saheen's going to send him. If he gets clear and he gets the rail, he's going to win this race in all likelihood. If he doesn't, it opens it up for some others. Grand Commander, who's a second choice, I think is a bit compromised to 5 because he doesn't have that speed he used to have anymore. And so Lee Rivera's going to have to find that rail position and hope he can take advantage, but he hasn't been showing speed that he once had. I'm hoping come full circle to 7 that Eric has this thing where he likes to drop back to last and sit out in the 6th path and make these big, exciting closes, and they're fun when it works, especially in Gallop Racer, but it doesn't really work in horse racing very often. This horse has enough speed to be closer, and I think Eric needs to realize, Eric Cancel is riding him, come out aggressively. If the 4 gets left, I don't think it's impossible the 7 could be forward because he might be the 2nd fastest horse early with the right ride. He's got to be able to save some ground. He ran a winning race last time. He's run well enough in his dirt races to be competitive here. I just am afraid on this racetrack he might not get the right trip.
5-1 right now. Come full circle the 7. Let's go to Maggie.
Look, biases are a massive headache, I think, for everyone involved, whether you're a bettor or horseman, unless you have a speed horse and you're just like, just praying to the horse racing gods that you can kind of work out some sort of trip, that they go too fast in front of you, like we saw 2 races back. So Grand Commander throughout his career has run, arguably and early on has run against some very nice horses. And then, he kind of has rounded back into form when he finally broke through and broke his maiden 2 starts back. And I thought his last effort against winners for the first time was very promising, considering that Kavanaugh came back and won with an 83. I remember talking to Bruce Brown after that race saying, I went back in for Kavanaugh. I said, it's probably a good idea. He seems like he's getting better. And he ran well for Bruce, and he immediately returned the favor. But I also said I thought Grand Commander ran well considering he was at the back early, and he did go to the rail at the turn, then he tipped out in the stretch and he ran on wide, closing well. I don't think he has to be that far back though than he was last time. He's gotten a big warm-up out on the track by Luis Rivera Jr., moving incredibly well. I have no knocks against your favorite other than his last race was horrible, but it was against better horses. But I do think Grand Commander could be getting back to the promise that he showed early on in a fraction of that way. But I'm going to take Grand Commander here. Guys?
That one at 5-2. This horse, Fiscal Drag, huge price, just stepped in. He actually had a big race on dirt at Monmouth. That was a while ago, last summer. Hasn't really reproduced it since, but the blinkers come off today. Set for the 8th. Chris Griffin, the call.
Diabolico, last to load. Goes in. All set. And they're off. Slow beginning for Gimme My Theme Music. Fast beginning Grand Commander in the early mixes right there with Fiscal Drag. Now joining them out wider, Diabolico wants to assert, and Gimme My Theme Music moved to the center of the racetrack, is now rushing up at the rail. Mess the Magician, so they are very tightly packed, and Diabolico with a nose advantage. Fiscal Drag is in between horses in the 2 path at the rail. That's Mess the Magician. Give Me My Theme Music is now comfortable in the 4th position, center of the racetrack. They're at 24.42, opening quarter mile. Solo Dancing is moving on through in tandem with the gray Taparino. Grand Commander's lost ground is second to last, and the trailer come full circle. They work into the far turn, and Messy the Magician has the lead. Messy the Magician up by a neck. Fiscal Drag not going anywhere is 2 wide. 3 wide is Diabolico. Give Me My Theme Music. Saheen Savachi asking for more here. 4 wide. Solo Dancing. Christopher Elliott, nowhere to go right now, is at the rail. They reach the top of the stretch. Messi, the magician, at a big number, is trying to win the finale this afternoon. Now the rail is open here for Solo Dancing, who's going to muscle on through, and here's Solo Dancing. Also, Come Full Circle splits rivals, and Come Full Circle's now flying after this new leader. It's Solo Dancing in front, but Come Full Circle, Eric Hansel found the seam. These two down the line together. Solo Dancing to the inside, Come Full Circle to the outside. It's a photo. Photo finish. Solo Dancing to the inside and Come Full Circle. Then another photo. Taparino with Grand Commander. 1 minute 27.29 seconds.
Photo finish. It looks like it is inside. Solo Dancing. But we will wait to make it official.
No, Solo Dancing won. I can only laugh. I mean, if you're like me and you made a bet in the 7, and I'll be fair, I did bet about 1/4 of what I would have bet had the track been fair. And the track was fair. The 7 would have won this race by 5 lengths. Credit Christopher Elliott. He never left the fence. Did he ride the best horse? Absolutely not. Was the 7, who at no point in this race was on the rail. Eric never went to the rail with him, couldn't be off it fast enough from dead last, and just hung because he was trying to close outside. It's a bias-aided victory and a frustrating beat with the 7. I guess I console myself in saying I bet a lot less than I would have if I thought this was a fair track. And this bias is just 6 days in a row of dramatically affecting the results.
9-2. It did get slammed on both sides.
Had the rail.
Out of the gate, the 7. Come Full Circle.
Yeah, well, he was clearly many lengths the best. But
1-7.
Tough game.
5-3. Solo Dancing 9-2 here in the 8th. Ralph D'Alessandro, Christopher Elliott. And now 2 for 10 for Solo Dancing. Prices from this one when we come back. Still have the feature to come from Oaklawn, and we'll look ahead to the big one tomorrow in the richest race on the planet, the Saudi Cup. Stay with us. Back with you on our Friday coverage. on America's Day at the Races. For more information on the New York breeding program, go to nybreds.com. It pays to have a New York bred. Closing out the action here in New York on this Friday card, solo dancing. Christopher Elliott, Ralph D'Alessandro, 9-2 on this 4-year-old.
Yeah, and I imagine a lot of the betting on this horse, not that he was impossible on paper, he was a little tough to make, but, was people take him because he had inside position in this race, and Christopher Elliott's been acutely aware of the rail, and boy, he just couldn't have ridden this horse any better. And, one thing about Christopher, he shows smarts as a rider, he's aware of biases, he rides well, and, he's obviously not, he's not Flavien Prat or Iran Ortiz, but I'll tell you what, he makes the most of the horses, the opportunities he gets. I think his agent, Jose Santos, does a fabulous job as well. But Christopher, if he has live horses, and you take this race, he didn't ride the best horse, and some of it was because the post he drew and such, but he took full advantage of it, and that's the best you can ask from any rider.
$11.18 for the win. Come full circle, Grand Commander, complete that trifecta. And let's take a look at the pick 5 and pick 6. Pick 5, $1,800 plus. Pick 6 pays over $6,000 on this Friday card.
One tough horse in the sequence, right?
Yeah.
This horse is a little tougher, but one tough horse.
Tomorrow, we hope you tune in early. Our coverage from Saudi begins at 8 a.m. Eastern time. And, of course, the big one in that golden hour, the Saudi Cup, $20 million purse. We'll have the return of the Breeders' Cup Classic winner, Forever Young.
I thought you posed an interesting question to me. We were off camera, Greg. You don't mind if I repeat it? Saying if this horse had won the Derby, and a lot of us feel he ran the best race that day, and I think a lot of people do.
Won,
he certainly didn't lose by much regardless. He could have won it. Would he be a Hall of Fame contender? I would say yes. Even though he just made 3 starts in the country, to have a Breeders' Cup Classic and a Derby win. And for me, I would say the rest of his career comes into play. Yeah. There are probably purists that would say, is he really a U.S. horse? Do we really put him in there? And I think there's a discussion, to be fair. I'll tell you what, I think he's a Hall of Fame talent.
Yes, he is. And now back for his 5-year-old campaign as the one to beat in the Saudi Cup, first spark back since the Classic victory. Let's go to Lafitte Pinkai and Michelle Yu.
In Riyadh, site of the world's richest horse race, $20 million Saudi Cup, 7th running Saturday night live on Fox Sports 1. Alongside Michelle Yu, I'm Lafitte Pinkai. Last year's Saudi Cup, an absolute thriller. Forever Young running down Romantic Warrior in the shadow of the wire. Michelle, Forever Young is back to defend his title. And how is it different this time?
Different this time because he's already won the race, and he's coming in here at the top. Before, he hadn't won a grade 1 anywhere else, right? He'd had those great races, but just hadn't got the job done. Now that he is that, now that he is the Japanese champion, now that he's the U.S. champion, there is a lot to ride on this mantle. And, when you're at the top, you think, how much higher can that star ascend? Does he have anywhere else to go? That's the big question. So it is different. There's more pressure for him this year.
Trying to become the first back-to-back winner of the Saudi Cup. As for the competition, we start with Bob Baffert and a dangerous 1-2 punch, Nevada Beach and Nisos. What's it going to take for Nisos to upset Forever Young and company?
Well, first of all, he's going to have to handle the mile and an eighth, right? That's going to be a big question mark for him. And in his last couple of races, he has been gritty. He has found the wire just in time. He's been there in a dogfight. He's going to need that tenacity. He's always been a very brilliant racehorse, but he's going to have something extra. And as far as Nevada Beach goes, he's the type of horse that could upset and win this. Horses that like to go a little bit farther, like Forever Young. I feel like those are the horses that really excel over this configuration and this racetrack. So maybe Nevada Beach going to be the upsetter here, but don't tell Bob Baffert that because he's all in on Nisos.
$20 million on the line, 7th running Saudi Cup, Saturday night live on Fox Sports 1.
The last 100 meters has been rough to Bob Baffert in this race. We'll see if Nisos or Nevada Beach can get it done for him tomorrow.
Oh, Country Grammar, was that the horse that got run down?
A couple of his horses got run down last.
Oh yeah, Charlatan as well, right? Who ran so well in this race, a 1-turn mile and an eighth. We really only see him at Belmont Park. I think that's the only other place I can remember seeing them. And listen, I hope Nisos runs well. I've always been a fan, and Bishop's Bay, who did run a big figure last time, but the mountain that is Forever Young, I think, is going to be too high to climb.
It's incredibly hard to beat, but great just to see him back now as a 5-year-old. Got to say goodbye to Andy Serling. Maggie Wolfendale back up on the desk when Andy says so long.
I'm done.
We will see you tomorrow. We have the feature at Oaklawn next.
$6,600,000. $1,600,000 out of bid today. $1,600,000 out of bid now. Bid now $650. $1,650,000. $1,650,000. Anybody else want $650,000 out of bid today. $1,650,000. $1,600,000. Thank you.
You bet with Naira Bets. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Download the Naira Bets app to play today and get a $200 deposit bonus. Watch live horse racing. Get expert picks. Boost your bankroll with weekly promotions and hone your handicapping skills with exclusive tips and tutorials. Download the Naira Bets app now. Sign up now to claim your $200 deposit match bonus. You bet with Naira Bets.
A provision in a bill passed this summer reduces the tax deduction for wagering losses from 100% to 90%. This unfair change would tax horse players on a percentage of their losses, could cost over $1 billion in handle, and threaten thousands of jobs in the racing industry. That's why the NTRA is fighting to pass the Wager Act, a new bill that would restore the deduction to 100%. Tell Congress to pass the Wager Act. Visit ntra.com/wager.
We are back on our Friday coverage. You're watching America's Day at the Races on Fox Sports 2. Featured coming up at Oaklawn in Hot Springs. The American Beauty, fillies, mares 4 and up, 6 furlong sprint. And currently it is the 5 Majestic Oops multiple stakes winner for Dan Ward. Back for her 6-year-old season. Francisco Arrieta will ride. That's the one to beat on the board. Let's go to Megan.
Well, a competitive but compact group as we see many fillies and mares taking the step up off the layoff, off the bench here, including the number 2, Esternia, for the Randy Morris barn, who has been training really well here at Oaklawn Park, and one that is really acting as a speed horse would. She's pretty sharp and on her toes. She's got 2 handlers on her right now. She is getting a little bit revved up in the paddock, but not over the top, kind of tossing her head a bit. As I mentioned, very typical of a horse that is getting on their toes, antsy, and ready to show, of course, that speed, which I think will be to her benefit here, as she also comes off of the layoff after a turf try last time out, where I've always thought she was just better on dirt, getting back to the surface. That's, to me, preferred for her. And I just really like the way she's been carrying herself here at Oaklawn Park off of the bench. I think she looks great in the flesh, judging from a horse that I don't find that she, from a fitness perspective, is lacking in that regard. And I think she's ready to go for, to me, a very underrated trainer and horseman in Randy Morris, who's having a terrific meet. It retains Luis Saez, who, of course, you would want on a horse on the front end here. But the number 3, Benedetta, is just typical Benedetta fashion. She's such a consistent commodity with back-to-back second-place efforts in her last 2 tries. She won this race last year at the same Beyer speed figure 82 that she's been really running here as of late. She's absolutely gorgeous, as she is every time I see her. She's got that big engine that we talk about, that power from behind. To me, she looks best of this group, as she has in many of the paddocks I've seen her in. Just a beautiful daughter of City of Light. But to me, guys, I wonder, is she getting that bridesmaid second-itis? And I've just wanted to see a little bit more from her. The 5.5, possibly a little sharp last time out. So I'm interested to see her getting back to 6 furlongs in this race.
All right, Megan, thank you. We'll get to the post-parade momentarily. I have a new analyst on the desk. Andy said so long. Maggie Wolfendale gets to come inside, and welcome to the desk.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Those last 2 races, I was getting a little chilly, though. I know it's been better than what it has been here in New York, but glad to be back and sitting up here with you, Greg.
Yeah, we got the feature coming up at Oaklawn. Obviously, our card of the books in New York for the day. We have early coverage tomorrow. We just previewed briefly with Andy that Saudi Cup tomorrow. Forever Young look unbeatable?
No horse is unbeatable. We'll say that. But he is definitely the star of the show.
No question. Again, you'll see that live tomorrow on our Fox Sports coverage. Back to the paddock for this American Beauty. And there's a look at Velvet Devil. It's a rider change. Jamie Torres will ride here for Michael Tomlinson.
Very good. She returns to the main track sprinting, which is what she has done best. I mean, last time we saw her there, yeah, she was well beaten, but Stilettos was so much the best as the favorite that day. And I thought she ran well. I mean, she kind of had to make the first move. She just ended up second best, and her numbers fit well here, but does she class up, I think, is the main question against horses like Benedetta or Esternia.
Yeah, and Majestic Oops, of course,
Majestic Oops.
Last time sprinting, Grade 1 placed Saratoga, who is not the favorite right now. That is the 2. Esternia, as they come onto the track. Approaching the 7-minute mark to post. And in a moment, we'll see Tap It Quick for Dallas Stewart, who does possess a little bit of speed inside.
She does, but I don't think she's as fast as, the Esternias or even the long shot in here, Gloriettes of the world.
And Esternia for Randy Morris.
Who's having a fantastic meet, as Meg was just saying. And, at the end of the day, Esternia, she is a dirt horse. I think we can excuse her Grade 2 ladies turf sprint try in her last start. It's just a question of the layoff. But the way that she's getting bet, Meg seemed to like her in the paddock, would suggest to me that I guess she's ready.
5-2, there she is.
Yep. Oh, just switched over.
5-year-old debut coming up on Esternia.
Favoritism to your 5 in here in Majestic Oops. And, they both have faced good horses, I think. But when you kind of collectively compact their careers, you would have to give the class edge to Majestic Oops. And to, she's run faster races. You look to her middle of the summer races last year, and they're just faster.
Here's Tap It Quick trying to turn the tables on a couple who have beat her, Esternia and Benedetta.
Yeah, I don't think she's quite as good as them, though. I mean, she's probably 3rd or 4th best here.
5-year-old return here for Esternia.
Esternia, we'll see if she's ready to go off the bench here. Public seems to like her. She has good tactical speed, and she gets back to the dirt.
Here is Benedetta. Steve Asmussen's son Keith rides.
Now, last time she was in the same race as Tap It Quick, though the favorite didn't break that day. She still ended up second best.
Pace, if nothing else, from Gloriette.
Yeah, I mean, the winner came back to win, but that was in a Louisiana bred stake.
Majestic Oops, the class of this group.
In the DRF article for the lead up to this race, Dan Ward saying that she prefers the colder weather, which she gets here.
And Velvet Devil outside for Michael Tomlinson.
Now, she could be the one with the upswing, right? The upward form, as she's a little less experienced than many of her rivals here. And like I said, her races 2, 3, even 4 back make her a fringe player.
6 minutes to post in our feature race. Standing by with the trainer of the current favorite. Let's go to Megan.
Well, always a pleasure to catch up with Dan Ward. And Majestic Oops comes off of the layoff. What a hard-knocking Calbred she is. And what has she been showing you in her training up to this point?
She looked like she needed a break. She ran a lot of races last year, a lot of different tracks, and we gave her the time off. And she's come back, freshened her up, and she's full of energy, doing good.
This is her first time sprinting since, of course, a valiant effort in that Grade 1 ballerina. What are your expectations as far as the tactics in this race?
I just told the rider to put her wherever she's going to be. She's going to finish good. The only 2 times that we sprinted her, she was 2nd and 3rd. And I think she'll run good, and we'll go from there. A lot of people don't remember that last year when she was running, she was giving weight to everybody because she won a couple races early, and she was giving 7 pounds to Hoosier Philly, 7 pounds to a Colt. She's with 15 today, so I think she'll run good.
She's one of those where she's kind of a smaller made individual. Would the plan be obviously take the step of sprinting to keep her sprinting, or do you envision her routing as the year continues, or just play it by ear?
Play it by ear. Yeah, she runs really good. Both divisions are tough, and we'll just try to find a good spot and go off the race today.
Well, best of luck. Always nice to see you, Dan.
Thank you.
And Greg?
Well, to that weight conversation you had, only has to carry 115 in this race, the co-low weight of the field.
Yeah, she gets a little bit of a break in that respect, as Dan pointed out there. And when she ran in that ballerina, which obviously was her last time sprinting, it did seem as though Kendrick Carmouche, who rode her on that occasion, kind of had to keep after her the whole way. He was niggling and niggling, but she kept responding. She just seems like an incredibly honest mare, and you always have to give respect to ones that want to go out there and do it. And maybe for an excuse, obviously it was a Breeders' Cup Distaff, and Scylla ran them off their feet that day. But she was coming to the end of an arduous campaign, and you would have to think coming in here fresh would do her the world of good.
There she is, still the current 2-1 favorite. Let's take a look at some of the rivals she will face in here, beginning with Benedetta, who ran over this track, last time out. That was December 21st. Here it is. Tap It Quick was in this race as well.
Now, like I said in the post parade, the favorite didn't break this day. So, and she was the 2. She was just put in an impossible position. So, it kind of opened the race up a bit here. We saw Benedetta. She was tracking 3 wide. She just eventually chased the winner here home, Jersey Pearl. And Tap It Quick, she was kind of down on the fence, which she is destined to be here again. But at least she did out-battle the horse that was right outside of her in the 5. It just feels like, she's a little bit smaller than the rest of her competition, Tap It Quick here, and she's just not quite as good as them. And the 9-2 on the board reflects that, Greg.
There she is. 2 minutes to post in the American Beauty. Let's go back to Mig and Megan.
Yeah, thanks, Greg. And a really, really competitive edition of the American Beauty. The 2 is Sternia, a horse that I know you really like and we both have interest in. It feels like her form is a little dirty up with her turf races. Those are the kind of horses that usually attract me.
I'd agree. And as I mentioned earlier, I believe she's best on dirt. She is a dirt horse. And while she is super speedy, watching her races last year, particularly that sprint there at Ellis 2-back, she did show a little bit of rateability. She didn't wire that field. Took her a second to assume control and then powered away from there, getting the likes of an entry made a familiar foe and Tap It Quick here. We'll see if she can get to this surface back here. She's very consistent. 4 on-the-board tries, 2 wins here at Oaklawn Park. And as I mentioned in my paddock report, she's kind of got a little bit of size on these fillies. She's bigger. It seems just the sheer size and scope of her than what she faces in here.
She is a big, stout mare. That was the first thing I noticed when she came on by us. Last year's defending champion of the American Beauty, the 3 Benedetta, that's where I landed. I just feel like her game is a little bit better here at Oaklawn Park. I really liked what I saw from her physically. She's ridden by Keith Asmussen for his dad, Steve, who is the leading trainer. Really got off to a tremendous start here at Oaklawn Park. And Keith, coming off a tough injury, feels like he's really rounding into form. Had a winner the other day. I like what I'm seeing. It's tough for riders to come back off injuries, but he seems like he's handling it well. And Benedetta made a beautiful impression on the racetrack, Megan.
She's always gorgeous, always a professional. She's just got that really classy, laid-back type of disposition, as she has every time I've seen her, the once I've gotten to see her, and then I've seen her over the summer at Saratoga. She's always been the same kind of mare. At 5 years old, she's still ultra consistent. I just wonder late in the last 2 starts, I mean, first off the layoff at Mahoney, you could say maybe she was up against the Raves Flow, pretty nice Louisiana bred, or excuse me, I believe Texas bred horse of the year, Too Much Kiki getting the better of her, and then Jersey Pearl, I just in good form and wasn't able to catch her that day. So we'll see if she can bring edge out this field. As I mentioned earlier, I just wonder if she's kind of stalled out in a similar kind of type of run.
Right, we're maybe not seeing any kind of a forward movement with her, but I do think, all of her better races have been here at Oaklawn. I like her now stretching another 16th of a mile. Now, you spoke to Dan Ward, had a winner earlier today on the card, was a longtime assistant trainer to Hall of Famer Jerry Hollendorfer. Majestic Oops, 2 things that concern me. One, it feels like just a starting point, and 6 furlongs where she gets swept off her feet a little bit.
She does. And the minute I saw this race, I thought, oh, wow, she's coming back. She's going to get a sharpener. I'm excited to see her jump off from this point. Because if you look at her resume last year, she was the type of horse that just got better and better as the races progressed. I mean, I commend the Dan Ward barn. This horse last year started off at a starter 12.5 and ended up in the Breeders' Cup that year. So what a training job.
Sure.
Being able to bring her along. And I will say this, physically, she's a lot smaller than I expected. This is my first first time seeing her in the flesh. And to me, she looks a little bit more like she would handle these shorter distances better than perhaps some of the longer tries that she's been taking on earlier in her career.
And she is already grade 1 place, going 7 furlongs in the Ballerina, which is the premier sprint for fillies and mares in the summer up in Saratoga. The 6th, Velvet Devil, another one. That last race on synthetic kind of dirties up her form.
She's got the upside, as Maggie had mentioned. She's a cool customer. My hesitation with her, she hasn't had a recorded work since January the 3rd, comes back to race on the synth, didn't work out, even though she does. I understand why they did it. She's got some turf in the pipeline on the pedigree, but shortening back up, I think she's an out-and-out sprinter. She looks fit, ready for the task. She's a really nice mover, as you kind of see her getting more antsy, ready to go there in the post parade on her toes, but physically she's just such a strong horse. This is one of the horses for me, Meg, where I saw her second time out at Fairgrounds all the way back a year ago, and I fell in love with her. So it's one of those horses where I just have followed along and always wanted to see her do well, which I do think with the outside post and tactical ability, she should make some noise up there at 5-1.
And she is being ridden by Jamie Torres, and the field is loading up for the American Beauty competitive race. Nobody over 6-1. Let's send it up to Matt Dinnerman for the call.
And we're off in the American Beauty Stakes. Tap it quick, a little bit hesitant. Gloriette, the long shot, goes right to the lead. Esternia showing rain to get up there. These two about a half length apart now. Esternia is going to take back. Gloriette strides in front. Gloriette, the leader of length here from Esternia down on the inside. Benedetta is 3 deep, and the rail's open here for Esternia to come forward. Esternia making a move to the lead. Gloriette on the outside, lets her through, just a neck off. Now the presser from the outside. Benedetta is 3rd. Velvet Devil getting shuffled back to the rear of the field, both passed by Tap It Quick and Majestic Oops, who's trying to come on now. Majestic Oops is 4 lengths behind. Velvet Devil calls it an afternoon. Rounding the far turn, Esternia, Gloriette side by side. Gloriette in the red blinkers has a head in front. Esternia's right there to her inside, not asked for her best yet. Benedetta getting outside for the stretch drive is 3rd, 3 deep as they come off the turn. Gloriette, Esternia in an all-out drive, and here comes Majestic Oops. Majestic Oops let loose between horses by Francisco Arrieta, and Majestic Oops has taken the lead with a furlong to go. Esternia is 2nd, Benedetta 3rd, then Gloriette coming to the finish. Majestic Oops confidently handled here. Could not have won this easier. In 2026, her first start of the year is a win, and a decisive one in the American Beauty. Majestic Oops doing it nicely. Esternia 2nd, Benedetta 3rd.
Well, it was Majestic Oops who rallied from off the pace. I thought the first quarter was a little bit on the slow side for this level of horse, but she finished. She came home her last furlong in under 12 seconds. Forget about a jumping off point. Maybe they found out what she really wants to be as a closing sprinter.
That's exactly what I thought about her. Just looking at her in the paddock, I self-consciously thought, man, I really want to see this filly progress sprinting, because I think that that's where her best has come. But listen, she really put forth a strong performance in this race. It wasn't a sharpener. She was sharp and ready to roll, splitting horses gamely, getting the best of Esternia. And Benedetta, we kind of talked about this off camera. I don't think she had too many excuses in there, Mick.
No, she was getting an absolute perfect trip, sitting off of 2 horses that were head and head, and just was kind of even through the stretch. Can't say that about Majestic Oops. She threw it into another gear. Nice effort by Esternia, but what a nice ride by Francisco Arrieta, last season's leading rider here at Oaklawn Park, and a great job by Dan Ward to have her ready to fire like this off of the layoff.
She certainly was ready. Started at a starter 12-5, now starts the year with a stakes win, Meg.
Yeah, well, only good things to come for her. This was absolutely an outstanding stepping off point, and guys, if it was a stepping off point, kind of bodes well for things for the future, doesn't it?
Might want to give thoughts to the Breeders' Cup again. Was 101-1. Did not go very well for her.
Might want to give thought to the Breeders' Cup filly mare Sprint.
Yes.
This year around, I think she is a sprinter. I remember seeing her at Saratoga, where I thought she was a smaller, kind of more compact frame. So she ran very well here, and maybe just another year under her belt, we see the best of her.
Looked pretty strong here off the bench as a 6-year-old. 2-1. Well, the prices when we come back. We'll look ahead again tomorrow to Riyadh, the Saudi Cup. Bishop's Bay coming off the performance of his career in the Cigar Mile. Back with you on our Fox Sports 2 coverage, America's Day at the Races. You can play all the action, of course, at NyraBets. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. At NyraBets.com. Feature in the books at Oaklawn. And our winner's circle lead-in for the American Beauty, brought to you by Facing Tipton Digital, North America's #1 digital platform for thoroughbreds. Learn more about our auction schedule at digital.facingtipton.com. Let's get digital. Majestic Oops with the win. Let's go to Megan.
Well, here with a winning pilot, Francisco Arrieta, we got a little rogue pony, but Francisco, you rode this filly last year here at Oaklawn, but nice to be able to see her come back so strong off the layoff here in 2026.
Yeah, she's very nice to ride. I got to give a big thanks to Dan, who made me ride her back and to bring her in a really good shape for the 6 furlong, you know.
What have you learned from her now being able to be more tactical sprinter as she was a bit longer, campaign longer last year?
Well, she can be where you want to be, you know. She's very classy. She's very honest. She try hard.
As do you, but congratulations here, Francisco. You'll ride you'll ride Woodstock in the Dixie Belle tomorrow. So lots of action and, of course, another fantastic ride.
Thank you very much.
And Greg?
Francisco Arrieta, good for him. Won the meet last year with, we talked about it so much last year. Thought about taking a break, walking away from the game for a little bit. Wound up winning the meet and just having this incredible finish and a strong start again this year. Majestic Oops, she's having a strong start as well to her 6-year-old campaign.
Yes, and it seemed like a break has really done her well, that she likes it there at Oaklawn too, I'm sure helps her case a bit, but I'm looking forward to what she can do with this 6-year-old campaign. Hopefully they keep her around 1 turn. I do think that, I mean, look, she ran well around 2 turns at Monmouth, don't get me wrong, but that and the way she finished coming home, I think 1 turn is her future.
Yeah, it could be State Bred Company, $12,000 claiming race, sprinting 6 furlongs here in race 9. And I'll look at the current odds. Pretty wide open right now. The girl in red probably going to start taking a little bit more money momentarily. Again, want to remind everyone, tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. Eastern is when our coverage begins from Riyadh. And we get to get treated to Forever Young, back in action. Won this race last year over a horse who's obviously incredibly talented, but primarily a turf horse.
Right, exactly. As Forever Young, he's coming in off the back of his Breeders' Cup win. And last year, Romantic Warrior, his name was completely escaping me, was who he was able to defeat. I know, a big fan club, but like you said, was more of a turf horse. Now you have several from Bob Baffert that are going to try to dethrone him. Nevada Beach, Nisos, and as well as Bishop's Bay for Brad Cox.
Talented field, but Forever Young, no question, the headliner. Let's go again to Riyadh with Lafitte and Michelle.
Saudi Cup 7, Saturday night in Riyadh. Right here, King Abdulaziz Race Course, $20 million Saudi Cup, the main event. But the undercard is absolutely loaded. Alongside Michelle, I'm Lafitte Pinkai. You've been here, Michelle, for every one of these. How has this event changed over the years?
Well, I think at first we came to see what's the spectacle going to be? What can we expect from these races in Saudi Arabia? And after we saw the results of the first couple of years, now it's become a destination, a real jewel. People come here to kick off their campaigns for the year. They expect great finishes like we got last year. They expect big money purses, obviously. Lots of memories to be made. And we send off champions all corners of the globe. I think it's a really great spot on the calendar, and everyone loves to come now.
3-year-olds come here for Derby campaigns. The Saudi Derby, now part of the Kentucky Derby Point Series. The Americans well represented. 4 runners, including My World, coming in with a lot of momentum.
Lots of momentum. He loves the configuration of the 1-turn route of ground. Now, he'll have to go a little bit further than he's ever gone, but he looks like he wants to do that, right? He needs to overcome a little bit of mental and physical greenness, but this is the perfect time of year to start to mature. So if he does that, I think he should be right there at the finish, but he does have to run through a couple of excellent Japanese contenders.
And that's the Saudi Derby, the race the Americans have done best in recent years, the Riyadh Dirt Sprint, and the favorite, once again, of the American variety, Bob Baffert's imagination.
You know, Bob Baffert, Dirts, Sprints, all those words go together for me. He's coming off a runner-up effort in the Breeders' Cup, and all he has to do is a little bit better, right? I think that looking at it, we have a couple of very fast horses from California, so it should be very formful, in my opinion. I think that the USA is going to be able to hoist the flag in that race.
You know, no American-based runner has won a turf race on Saudi Cup night just yet. Maybe that changes Saturday night in the 1351 turf sprint. Your thoughts on Reef Runner?
I love Reef Runner in this spot. We've seen him be very good at 5 furlongs, which I don't think is his ideal distance. You don't get this kind of in-between distance very often, right between 6 and 7 furlongs. I think it's going to be the perfect distance for him. He's going to have a lovely setup. He's been training like an absolute machine out here. I love to watch him in the mornings. I'm a big Reef Runner fan.
Spectacular night of thoroughbred racing. Main event, $20 million Saudi Cup. What a scene, what a party. All coming to you live on Fox.
And another look at the field for the main event. Race 9 on the card, mile and an eighth, one turn, mile and an eighth, by the way. And Forever Young looks incredibly imposing here.
Oh, absolutely, given that he is last year's defending champ, and it's not like he's coming in here off poor form. He beats the best that America has to offer on the dirt in the Breeders' Cup Classic, and securing a championship, an Eclipse Award, being the handicap horse of the year. I love this guy. I mean, he's a globetrotter. He brings his game no matter where he is.
Is there a more consistent horse running right now as well at this high a level?
Exactly. No, there isn't. I mean, he's 10 for 13 lifetime, over 19 million in earnings, and that could only get better come tomorrow.
And one of those defeats, by the way, he was probably best in that race. That was the Kentucky Derby.
Exactly.
That's the lineup for tomorrow for the 2026 Saudi Cup Stakes. Saudi Cup, the big one, 12:40 Eastern time. We'll bring you live coverage of that. But it all kicks off again 8 a.m. Eastern tomorrow on Fox Sports. We're taking time out. We'll be back. More coming up from Oaklawn. Race 9, 17 minutes away in this state bred $12,000 claiming 6 furlong sprint. Post parade next.
And it's lights out, locked, pouring it on, running aggressively through the stretch to win by 7 easy lengths.
Here is Locked. Locked racing by on the outside for the lead. Locked, the wine steward, it is Locked.
Here comes Locked after Mulligan. Locked catching with every single stride, and Locked will win the Cigar Mile.
It's all about Locked, dominating the big cap, cruising home to an effortless 8-length romp.
You bet with Naira Bets. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Download the Naira Bets app to play today and get a $200 deposit bonus. Watch live horse racing, get expert picks, boost your bankroll with weekly promotions, and hone your handicapping skills with exclusive tips and tutorials. Download the Naira Bets app now. Sign up now to claim your $200 deposit match bonus. You bet with Naira Bets.
They come on for the finish in the Pilgrim Stakes. Annapolis by a head.
It is Annapolis in front. It is Annapolis to win the Coolmore Turf Mile.
The turn, Decode has a quarter mile more to go. Butane right behind him. Soldier and Diplomat on the grandstand side, gradually wearing down Decode, and Soldier and Diplomat has gone to the lead. Now here comes Silent Tactic. Silent Tactic flying down the outside, and he's going to get them all. Silent Tactic. Christian Torres drawing away to win the Southwest Stakes.
Silent Tactic, huge performance in the Southwest after playing second fiddle to his stablemate earlier on that Triple Crown Trail in Hot Springs, but really took a big move forward.
Yeah, I mean, this one looks like one that is promising. I feel like has, the right kind of running style. But, I mean, it's just a testament to how loaded Mark Casse is at Oaklawn. I mean, wow.
Not just, how loaded he is, the kind of meat he's having.
Yeah, 100%. And it's not slowing down. I mean, that's what you get when you have big stables of, I don't want to say hundreds, but hundreds of horses. And you're bound to come across talent. But, wow, he has managed them brilliantly.
And he told us with Silent Tactic, he's staying at Oaklawn. We don't know. Rebel would be a fairly quick comeback, but it's either Rebel or Arkansas Derby. He's going to stay put.
Well, one thing is true. Mark Casse is not afraid to run his horses.
Yeah. And, of course, it was his stablemate who had beat him in the Smarty Jones, Strategic Risk, who Mark Cassie's not ready to give up on at all.
Sure.
And then even more ammunition coming up for Casse with a horse who is undefeated. That is coming up on Monday coverage in the Ozark. Here to take a look at what is ahead with the Dixie Belle and that Ozark and Ewing coming back, Saratoga Special winner from last year. Let's send it back to Hot Springs.
Thanks, Greg, Maggie. It is kind of interesting, but you have some skinny about that. What's going to go on with Silent Tactic?
Some skinny? Oh,
well,
we always like that. I'm kidding.
You got the news.
Well, he is reported to be going back to the Rebel, so it is a quick turnaround. But as you mentioned, Mark Casse likes to run his horses, and he will be pointed as of now to, of course, that Grade 2 Rebel right here at Oaklawn Park. But as we take a look at another Casse runner gearing up for a big return, your undefeated Grade 2 Saratoga Special winner, Ewing. And Meg, this horse has taken a step forward from 2 to 3. Let me tell you what.
Well, you've been watching him train, and you want to see that maturation from 2 to 3. You want to see them broaden out, fill into themselves. He's 2 for 2, super impressive, and Obliteration, who he defeated in Saratoga, was super impressive here, Megan.
That's key. Seeing his other counterparts, while those were shorter fields at Saratoga, you still want to see the horses he faced at 2 progress as well, giving that indication that he would. And Obliteration has done just that. But when I saw him in the flesh, he really looked the part immediately, taking that progression, taking a step forward. And I will say this, he was supposed to come back earlier than this point, but he did have a bit of a setback. Maybe just was supposed to come back earlier, potentially stretch him out, but I believe the plan could be to keep the son of Nick Sko sprinting, and he has been brilliant so far doing so.
Well, it seems like Mark Casse has the route version of the 3-year-olds kind of covered at the moment. It's interesting, too. Years ago, and I'm a lot older than, obviously, you, but everybody on the set, I remember Lucien Lauren getting a lot of criticism for only starting Riva Ridge and Secretariat 3 times before the Kentucky Derby. In this day and age, 3 times is a comprehensive campaign leading to the Kentucky Derby.
It is, and it's nice to see, especially a horse like Silent Tactic, be able to take that dirt, and a horse that was started on the synthetic. So getting him to progressively build on dirt, I think, is key, and he's certainly got an arsenal of both sprinting and routing.
Well, lucky for us, we've got some great racing to come here at Oaklawn, and obviously the comprehensive series of races towards the Arkansas Derby and ultimately, guys, the Kentucky Derby.
I'm excited about this Dixie Belle as we see a very impressive maiden winner in French Friction take on winners for the first time off of a very visually impressive performance on that all 2-year-old card for who other than the Mark Casse barn. I feel like I'm stalking these 4 people coming to the barn as much as I do, but they've got so many talented horses. A daughter of City of Light. When you see her physically, you might think that distance might be her suit, but Mark Casse, per reports, had mentioned that the race that they wanted going long didn't go, so they're going to keep her sprinting for now. But man, does she have an engine behind her? She's incredibly powerful, and she's incredibly classy, especially for a horse that obviously hasn't raced as much as she has.
Well, and I think it's a nicer progression and then come back and sprint another time going against winners, and obviously much tougher.
Right, and we'll see Paving, of course, come back from that year's end, as well as Woodstock coming back from the Mockingbird. So we'll see if they can redeem off of those stakes performances. Little Miss Curlin, though, is a really cool horse. They're 8-5 morning line favorite, undefeated Louisiana bred there, and a daughter of Charlatan out of just a beautifully bred Louisiana bred. You don't see those as often. Bred by Coda Groves Farm and owned by them, and she's just been remarkable on a hot streak. But it is a test, facing open company for the very first time.
Yeah, stepping out of that Louisiana bred company for the first time, but she's perfect so far, guys. How about the post braid here for race 9?
Yeah, we look forward to both those stakes. Yeah, there's a lot of talk about Ewing this past summer, Saratoga, so interesting to see him coming back on our Monday coverage.
Watching that B-roll, you know, as Meg talked about his physical form, I remember he was such a high-energy 2-year-old. At least on the B-roll there, he looks like he's mentally matured tenfold. I mean, he's so composed on the track and in his stall, so really looking forward to seeing him.
Post-parade, Oaklawn, the 9th coming up here. And again, this one's state bred, $12,000 claiming sprint, 6 furlongs. I believe every single race on the card today was a 6 furlong sprint.
Yep, you would know better than
Rarity.
I know, but that is weird.
Yeah. We'll start with Courageous Cap'n, who is coming off a second beat less than a length last start.
Yeah, kind of dove to the rail and had this like late surge as she does meet familiar foes here. I thought a decent effort last time considering she was coming in off a bit of a break too.
Yeah, there she is, 8-year-old mare, just 2 for 42 lifetime.
She likes to finish second, so 9 of those have been, place finishes.
Kitiara was well behind Courageous Cap'n in that race.
I don't see any reason why she's going to suddenly turn the tables.
She's storming for Michael Hewitt.
Yeah, again, and one that has had a race in between that common 10 claimer, and she didn't do as much running.
Here's Wildwood Queen, who had beat Courageous Cap'n.
Yeah, just faced tougher last time out, ran well, 2 back.
Memory Maker for John Prather.
She's going to have to get better. She goes second off the layoff against similar foes.
4-length win for Cosmic Chic. That was back in early December last start.
She was so much the best last time in that December race. We'll see if she can run back to that race. She's a major player.
Dan Ward looks to go back-to-back.
Yeah, first off the claim here off of a poor performance, though.
The girl in red, third in that Wildwood Queen race.
Won the battle, lost the war, though I thought ran incredibly well, was your beaten favorite that day.
Summer Shoes, Tom Swearingen barn.
Never picked up in that last race, so she's going to have to find better.
Off a layoff, though. Yeah, it took a little slow step early.
Right.
Sparkly went by.
She went by. We'll talk about her, though.
Lady Astrid off since September, comes in from Canterbury.
I like a little cut back in distance. She ran so well, and they were 9 1/4 clear of the rest of the field.
And then Q's Your Mama, 15-1.
I like it. That's a clever name. She's going to have to find a race. I don't think well, when she broke her won her non-2, she ran very well, but she hasn't gotten back to that. Although the cut back in distance might help her here.
Yeah, not a lot to love on paper. She looked okay, warming up.
Yeah,
6 minutes away, though.
She's sharp.
From race 9, 15-1. Outside.
I mean, do you agree that the 11 is the horse to beat here? I don't know. I thought, where is she? The red. Girl in red.
Girl in red, the 8, yeah.
Yeah. I thought she was kind of the horse to beat. That's 6-1 on her.
Well, I believe we're gonna look at Lady Astrid. Shakopee form at Canterbury going to transfer here? You look at some of the Oaklawn races. They don't really wow you, do they, against this field?
No, going back to, I guess earlier in 2025. But then you go, it feels like her Canterbury races might be a bit better for whatever reason. I don't know why. And 2, last time that was around 2 turns. Granted, she was nailed late, but it just felt as though she was very comfortable, kind of getting out there, stalking the early leader, and look how much separation there is between those top 2 and the rest of the field. So definitely running well. It's just, can she get back to it? I don't know. She has run those 69 barriers. She's run fast races going way back in her career. Will she be ready off the bench here?
She beat Summer Shoes here, which was 12-1 at Oaklawn. That was back in April of last year, but Summer Shoes right now, 7-1 on the board. Let's send it back to Hot Springs.
Yeah, guys, and let's stay with the 11 for another moment, Lady Astrid. She does make a lot of sense on paper, but I have to say, and to be fair, I don't really know what she normally looks like, what's in or out of character for her. But her coat's not great. She's really on the thinner side, and she just didn't impress me from a physical standpoint.
This is the kind of horse that I'm immediately against as one of the top choices in favoritism when taking a look at her. And I think it's incredibly important. She is an 8-year-old mare. She's had a long career, 43 starts. And it might be where she's just one of those harder keepers, right? Not the easiest to keep weight on. Does come off the layoff. But definitely, to me, Mig, not the kind of physical that you want to see, especially coming off the bench.
Yeah, and again, to be completely fair, we don't know if that's normal for her and that's how she runs well. We know it's not a beauty contest, but my first impression was not a great impression. You're a little interested in the 4 Wildwood Queen.
Her two-back effort was just so impressive, and now she gets back into state-bred foes where she tried open claimers last time out, drops back in at lower in tag off of that. I thought she looked fantastic on track, which gave me all the more confidence in her. She's been working well, even though she was a victim to falling, perhaps missing some training her last work coming on January the 22nd. But man, two-back was she incredibly impressive, rolling down the stretch, closing against some familiar foes that reappear in this race, including the second and third place finishers. And if she can come with that kind of rally against, again, a familiar group, while the speed figure didn't come back nearly perhaps maybe as fast on paper, just her innate acceleration late was incredibly impressive to me.
And ridden by Walter Dela Cruz, so I think is a very underrated rider. Kind of a jockey's jockey. Just goes about his business, no histrionics, puts his head down, does his job. Horse I thought was a little interesting at a big price, and you're getting Christian Torres, is the 5 Memory Maker. You know, her races at Oaklawn have left something to be desired last year, but maybe she figured the game out, went to Louisiana Downs against Easier, put together back-to-back wins, and I just thought she might be better for having that race off, under her belt. Not having been run since September.
Yeah, for sure, especially with these horses that are these lower level claimers. Getting a race certainly helps. Coming back against, again, that same key race last time out on December the 21st, that state-bred $10,000 claimer. My issues with this horse, Mig, she's 0 for 5 here at Oaklawn Park. And while I do think, just judging from her demeanor, she's very sharp, she was a bit antsy as she entered the paddock, I do find her to be one, perhaps a more forward player tactically.
And then the 6, Cosmic Chick, kind of put it all together. Best effort of her career last time when she powered home back in December.
Amanda Poston there got a win. I believe that was her first ever win here at Oaklawn Park. Now back aboard for Burl McBride and has taken advantage of those Arkansas-bred foes. Two-back just kind of gave way and did not fire her best, needed the time and came back well. So I wonder, again, Meg, is she going to be able to carry that form consistently? But I will say this, when she took a break last year, back in 2024, when she was 3-4 years old, she definitely did not come back as fresh as she did last time out. So it is interesting to see her in her best form right now for sure.
And then towards the outside, my top selection is going to be the 10 Sparkly. And the reason I like this horse is because, again, the Oaklawn form maybe leaves something to be desired. But she's got some speed. But the outside post gives her the luxury of getting into the race the right way. She's not forced into the race. Eric Asmussen's just been riding in tremendous form. Steve, his dad, the leading trainer at the current stand. And I just thought she might trip out here.
Absolutely. I agree with everything you said. It was really encouraging because two-back off of the layoff, you could tell she needed the raise. She flattened out, and then she was able to come back with more run last time out at Houston. I will say, though, Meg, it feels as if her best races are in different tracks other than Oaklawn. She's 0 for 8 at Oaklawn. And to me, just judging from a melting pot of jurisdictions, I wonder if she's going to be able to carry that same form. And I know it's something I talk about a lot, but it's also something that I've learned from you is sometimes with these melting pots of jurisdictions, trying to gauge, are they going to bring that same form here?
Yeah, absolutely. And that was the one stumbling block for me, that 0 for 8 at Oaklawn. But in the Steve Asmussen barn now, real nice effort last time with Eric aboard and the post. I just wonder if maybe she's not going to be a little bit of a different horse than we've seen at Oaklawn previously.
You're getting a very fair price. I mean, 6-1. I would not accept too. I just think I wouldn't say preposterous, but given the form on paper for the attention that the number 11 is taking. But I just think this is a much more competitive field on paper, where you could just go a lot of different ways, as we've seen all day, Meg.
100%. Horses are starting to load up in the starting gate. We got a big field here. One more to go after this one, guys. And as usual here at Oaklawn Park, a big, enthusiastic, friendly crowd. People have been coming up, talking with us all day, and I really enjoy the interaction with the fans here at Oaklawn Park.
Red jacket. She's storming the post 3.
Well, we're going to head up to Matt Dinnerman for the call of race 9.
Walk in. Sparkly walking forward, Memory Maker, post 5. Lady Astrid, post position number 11. Here's Cosmic Chic, goes into the gate. Outside post, cues your mama rounding out the group. We're ready to go. And we're off. Good dispatch for all. Sparkly sent for speed from post 10. She's got ahead in front. Now it's a full length as they head down the backstretch, but a wall of runners are coming to challenge. Memory Maker is in that line. She's storming also in the group. Kitiara is easing off of them. Now going to come through if the rails open up. It is, so she's going to move forward now. Courageous Cap'n backs away in the 5th position. Sparkly has also conceded the lead as they sorted themselves out on the front end. We come back to Lady Astrid as they corner into the far turn. Cosmic Chic, Wildwood Queen is in the mix here. The girl in red, she's 7 lengths behind under a ride with Ngala. Cues Your Mama, she's second to last, and Summer Shoes is at the back as they round the far turn. Memory Maker nose in front of Kitiara. A 3 deep, she's storming right there, battling too. Cosmic Chick is coming on 4 wide in the swing off the turn. They come down the stretch. She's storming with a head in front of Kitiara. Memory Maker still battling on the grandstand side. Cosmic Chick begins way. Courageous Cap'n coming on into the second position. She's storming, and Jane Elliott of his 16th more to get, and she just keeps going. She's storming on that contentious pace, just would not slow down, and she's going to get the win. She's storming at 24-1, springs the upset. Courageous Cap'n at 42-1 rounds out the exacta spot. Then Wildwood Queen, and 4th home was Cosmic Chick. Prices all around.
Well, a big price here in race 9 is the 3 She's Storming came storming home. This is a big effort at 24-1.
Huge effort, and Meg, it sometimes feels as if these races are on the precipice of perhaps blowing up with prices, and this race certainly felt that way to me at least. And getting back to State Bred Foes, I mean, this horse really hasn't done much running in the last couple of, honestly, years. So it's really nice to see the Hewitt barn getting the first win of their season. Jane Elliott, of course, her second. And wow, I also have to give credit to the 1 and the 4. The 4 came rolling home, had traffic, split horses closing. So I still love that horse, but kudos to the connections on this one.
Well, big prices all around. One of the things about Oaklawn Park, dig in. You can mine that nugget of gold. We're going to take a quick time out, come back with one more to go here at beautiful Oaklawn Park.
Back at our Friday coverage on America's Day at the Races. Some of the sights around town in Hot Springs. Of course, you can play all the action at Naira Bets. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. You've got around town when you've been out there, right? Or do you stay at the racetrack?
I have. No, well, I stay at that racetrack, but before the hotel was built, I stayed downtown, and so I love downtown. And those springs are hot. So if you're used to Saratoga Springs, it's like whoa. Yeah, it's a well-named city, in other words.
Gangster Museum, have you done
that? Yes, I did a couple hits from the Gangster Museum.
9th race. It's She's Storming. Jane Elliott from across the pond, the win for Michael Hewitt. 6-year-old mare, the victory. Let's go to Megan.
Well, Jane was one of the first faces I met here at Oaklawn Park on the backside, talking Hot Springs, and now in the winner's circle with a mare that you're familiar with and you have confidence in, of course, and it showed here at a big price.
Yeah, you know, she was a big price in this, but I liked her. She run really well her 2 starts here this meet so far, and she loves this track against Archiebreds again today. You know, I love riding this horse. She's a real hard-knocking horse, and she gives her all, and she showed that today.
You mentioned when you were still on her that you just had the confidence in her and you went. That was exactly what your first impressions, and that's exactly what you did. But especially here at Oaklawn Park and how tough this colony is, has that just been your mindset, kind of getting here for your second season?
Yeah, you know, it can be a bit of a speed favouring track, and today she put me on the lead easy, and I was just filling her up till the quarter pole and let her loose and, you know, play catch me if you can.
Always enjoy catching up with you, Jane, and congratulations here.
Thank you, Megan. Cheers.
Greg?
Well done. Jane Elliott with a victory on a $50 horse here in the 9th to shake things up in this late pick 5.
Over a 42-1 shot. Courageous Cap'n, Wildwood Queen rounds out the trifecta, but a nice aggressive ride. She was assertive and it paid off.
Close things out with race 10, 6 furlongs. Arkansas bred $40,000 maiden claiming race, so all for sale for that price. And Red River Storm right now, 3-2 on the slight class drop. Beaten favorite last start.
Excuse me. Yeah, no, does make a good deal of sense in here with number 9, Red River Storm for Jade Gellner. Has a speed too, and we just saw speed be very effective in that last race.
All right, well, more with our crew from Hot Springs on this finale in a moment. Tomorrow's card here in New York. Say Florida Sandy, 7 furlongs, race 9 on the card. Also have the Eastview Damon Runyon earlier on, but this is a good one. $135,000 purse, 4-year-olds and up. Look at the field that will line up. And let's start with National Identity for Danny Gargan, trying to win 4 in a row.
His last effort, though, Greg, was so impressive. I thought just dominated this field and did it with the utmost ease here. He's always a horse that has shown an abundance of talent, I thought. I mean, look, he's 4 for 9 lifetime and has never been worse than 3rd. But this effort was really impressive in my estimation.
It sort of just launched him into a new level.
Yeah. Fastest higher speed figure.
4-year-old season.
Exactly. Here with the 97. So I think he'll be really formidable in this spot. You know, there's some horses that definitely have some back class and some hard knockers in here, but he just feels like the one that is going in the right direction where, you know, you have a horse like the Wine Steward. Is he going to be able to get back on track off the layoff for Mike Maker?
Yeah, when you talk about back class, I guess that's the one you sort of have to start with. For Mike Maker, Ricardo Santana Jr. has the outside post, but again, the way this track has been playing, is he going to be compromised?
Exactly. I mean, you have a horse like Acoustic Ave as well, who in his last 2 starts has been on the front end. Last time it paid to his advantage, kind of getting away, I don't want to say with slow fractions, but they were tepid for the level. He's been in excellent form for Linda Rice. And of course, National Identity, he has that good early tactical speed.
So yeah, Wine Stewart, let's get back to him here as he gets set for his 5-year-old debut. And this was back in the Hudson. Yet another stakes win against New York breds. Did this one very impressively.
Yeah, no, and he's been really good against New York breds. In fact, he's a head shy of being undefeated against his fellow state breds in here. So he has to be respected, and he's a common foe, an acoustic Ave going back to this Hudson. And he's not completely devoid of speed. I think he can be placed where Ricardo wants him. His problem, though, honestly, is more the outside post than anything.
Yeah, that's, I mean, I think it's more probably inside than speed that's been helping runners on this racetrack.
Yeah, so if Ricardo can maybe let some of those speed horses, maybe that are a bit faster than him, clear off and then just get to the rail, that would be ideal. But, you know,
starting from an outside post.
The best laid plans don't always come to fruition.
Linda Rice with a couple in the race, including El Grande O. We look forward to it. That is race 9 tomorrow. Say Florida Sandy. Nightcap still to come. Post parade next. We're 20 minutes to post for the 10th.
A warrior from the start. He's got grit, the kind champions are made of. In his biggest battles, he showed his mettle.
Sierra Leone is plugging in. Dornock is coming back. Dornock is a Remsen.
What separates the best isn't just talent, it's meeting the moment. A will to win, to scrap and fight like your life depends on it.
Dornock in an absolute thriller. Dornock and Mind Frame. It will be Dornock to win the Belmont Stakes.
Look your rival in the eye and say, not today.
And Dornock stubborn. Dornock wins the Haskell.
A world-class athlete made for the fight. That's Dornock.
Say hi to our new stallion, Highland Falls. From his winning debut to that spectacular Jockey Club Gold Cup.
It is Highland Falls. He wins another one. This time the Jockey Club Gold Cup.
Even his buyer was high. The race his sire made his own by a widening 4 lengths. A host of Grade 1 winners far behind. High and goodbye. Running a 107 when second in an All-Star Whitney. The rise and rise of Highland Falls. High class, on the track and on the page. This is his dam, winning the Acorn and then the Distaff. Aim high. Breed to a well-bred son of Curlin. Highland Falls, new to Darley.
Saturday, defending champion Forever Young returns to face a star-studded field in the Saudi Cup. A win and you're in for the Breeders' Cup Classic. Undercard kicks off Saturday morning, 8 a.m. Eastern on FS2, followed by the Saudi Cup, noon Eastern on FS1.
And Scrappy T comes away with the lead, but a Fleet Alex is taking a bull run. Oh, Scrappy T blew the turn, and the Fleet Alex champion Rose almost fell out of the saddle. A dramatic occurrence at the top of the stretch. Here's a Fleet Alex who has come on to take the lead. Scrappy T blew the turn, and he's second on the inside, and it's 5 lengths back. Giacomo will manage only to be third. They're coming down to the finish, and in dramatic style, a Fleet Alex who almost fell at the top of the stretch has won the Preakness.
A Triple Crown performance that horse racing fans will never forget. One of the most iconic moments in Triple Crown history of Fleet Alex clipping heels, going down to his knees after getting banged by Scrappy T and then going on to win the Preakness. Announced that he was euthanized February 6th, Gainesway Farm. With that news, 2005 champion 3-year-old passes away due to the infirmities of old age.
Wow, it's hard to believe. It feels like that was just yesterday, Craig, to be honest. Watching that Preakness over again, he will be most remembered for this performance, but it also kind of in a line of, or a span of a few years, you know, you think back at Sparty Jones too, of where the little guys were winning these big races. You know, Tim Ritchie and Jeremy Rose, not your household names of that time period. And a horse like a Fleet Alex comes along. Obviously, his name into an Alex, the relationship with Alex's lemonade stand.
Help raise millions for childhood cancer research.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So he was a horse that was a brilliant horse, but kind of his aura and his story went beyond racing and transcended and did a lot of good for just humanity.
Yeah, incredible story, and it was such a fun ride that he took us on as horse racing fans. Announced he's going to be buried at Gainesway.
Cool.
And
That's great.
Yeah, we will remember that performance. I think this past year brought up a lot of memories of that with what journalism did in the Preakness.
Absolutely, that's a very good point. Being on track for both of them, it was pretty crazy. I mean, just the reaction of the crowds in those moments is such a tangible feeling.
Sorry to lose him, but what a horse he was. A Fleet Alex has passed on, and again, will be buried at Gainesway Farm. We're going to take a time out. We'll be back. Finale still coming up at Oaklawn, race 10, post-parade, when we come back from this break on Fox Sports 2.
For a time, as many as 350 Major League players converged in Hot Springs, Arkansas each spring to prepare for the upcoming season.
Ownership felt they needed to boil out the alcoholic microbes. Hot Springs was known as a place that had therapeutic waters, and they came for that reason. And then the ball players turned out to love it because they really not only did get in shape, but they had a great time.
By the 1930s, nearly half of all Major League teams had, at some point, used Hot Springs as their spring training base. Plus, about half of all prominent ball players visited Hot Springs individually. Babe Ruth used to visit Hot Springs to work his way into shape, a place to prepare for spring training. In fact, the Babe even used the hot healing waters to recover from influenza. This wall at the Gangsters Museum of America in Hot Springs represents the long list of Hall of Fame baseball greats who trained here.
The winter storm of 2021 is a reminder of why baseball eventually migrated away from Hot Springs.
The rain proved to be a disruption, and sometimes even the cold and snow wiped out valuable practice time. Although by the 1930s most teams moved to Florida and Arizona, Hot Springs would continue to be a destination for players to work out before joining their major league squads for decades to come.
A lot of history with certainly the major leagues and with the Mafia in Hot Springs. They go hand in hand. Race 10, the finale is coming up. Let's go to Megan.
Well, an Arkansas-bred maiden claimer, and man, do you often see some chaos ensue in the paddock with these types, and that's sort of what happened in here. Not overzealous, but we'll start with number 12 on the outside. A first-time starter for the Johnny Ortiz barn at Highway 70. I've gotten to know her a bit in the barn. She's a filly that actually has a teddy bear right by her stall, interestingly enough, and she can be a bit busier of a type, an individual, and she is a 4-year-old first-time starter by Cutting Humor, of course, raised right here in the state of Arkansas. And, you know, for her, judging from what I envisioned from her in the barn, she's handled herself really well. She came in with the training tack on, and she's really composed, especially because the filly directly to her inside the 11 was leaping and just kind of providing some chaos for her right by her. So she's handled herself well. She's a bigger filly. She's a later developing horse, getting that late start at 4, but she's been handling herself well. As far as just debuting at a lower tag, with those maiden claimers, John Ortiz has been pretty astute in where he puts them. And now being able, of course, to kind of get that Lasix for the first time, I think will also be to her credit. But we've also wanted to touch on the number 1 Tallahassee, who to me is one of the standouts as the tote board reflects, and one that has been incredibly well composed and have taken a big step forward to me, and now getting the key addition of Lasix, Greg.
All right, thanks, Megan. 9 minutes away from this 10th. We're going to get to the post parade here momentarily. Thought we would be moving a little quicker, but they're not out yet.
I know. I told our producer to go because I know how it is in the paddock, and you have horses leaving and you feel a bit rushed because it looked like they were going out and they weren't.
Here's Tallahassee coming through the 1 for Ron Moquette.
Gets a little bit of a makeover with the blinkers on, getting the Lasix. I love the turn back because you could see on the replay how short and compact she was. So sprinting is more to her liking, and plus a drop in class isn't going to hurt either.
He, of course, Ron Moquette, the man known as the unofficial mayor of Hot Springs, has the best view of racing of anyone with his property right on the backstretch.
Yep. And it's like, I mean, the unofficial vice president, I think, of Oaklawn, too.
Yeah, a little bit.
He's the one who got the Ring the Bell started.
Yeah.
And has campaigned for it in other jurisdictions as well.
Was behind the new receiving barn, right?
Exactly. Yep.
It's been incredible what he's made happen in Hot Springs. We'll start with his filly here in the post parade in just a moment. We get a nice overview of the track there at Hot Springs and that view that some have
from their hotel room. Oh, hey. Oh, drone. I love the drone shot there, too. It's great.
Here's a look at Royal B for Ernie Witt, making career start number 3, and drops, at least from that last, the lone dirt start was against much better. So
yes.
A big drop in class.
No, I know. She does face, wait a minute. Does she face?
No, that one was AE.
Yeah, that was AE, right. But yeah, no, I do like her in here. I thought she had a little bit of a rough beginning in that start coming back off the layoff. So I think she deserves a look.
Yeah, definitely. Right now, 701, somewhat intriguing up there on the board price-wise. So we'll see as they make the turn here in a minute. Ron Moquette using Keith Asmussen on yet another class dropper. This one, all 3 prior starts have been against better, but not a lot to love in those starts. I saved probably the debut where at least showed some speed at Keeneland.
Yeah, exactly. What are we going to get from her? As she was rank and really hard to handle, she was just erratic into that first turn because he allowed her to kind of go forward, and then one came over on her and she bounced off the rail. I just think sprinting is just going to be so much better for her. Right. You don't necessarily know. She hasn't shown that much, but I do think she is a major player.
Here's Lady Strategy, start number 2.
She did not have any speed in that debut, and it was a 4 claiming tag. Did not take much money there.
Jack Scal gets Lasix.
Jack Scow does get LASIK. She broke a bit slow, then she rushed up. She showed kind of that there was some ability there after just getting tired in her debut.
Batista has shown very little in 2 tries.
Yeah, I don't think I'll be having Batista.
A Vision of Hope. Turf back to dirt.
Yeah, and his run okay against some open company, albeit at Louisiana Downs. So definitely a fringe player here.
I just when we told you that 7 who had that okay effort on dirt against Better.
That's a great price on her at 7-1 too.
She's our Daffodil, start number 2.
I mean, this is basically her debut as she parted ways with Ronnie Huckabee at the start in her first start.
The one to beat. Here's Red River Storm.
Has the speed, is in at the same level where there's some drop-down horses that could potentially upset her.
Greg Compton Barn looking to add another Today Shrimp Cookie. Cuts back.
Does come back after having no early speed, but did show a little bit, just some hints at ability.
Miss Pumpkin's Peregrine had shown some speed at Prairie Meadows.
Wow, you said that really well. That name came. I was like, how do we say this? Obviously watching the replay, but...
I think I've covered before.
Yeah,
and then
okay.
Highway 70 debuting from the outside.
For John Ortiz here, it does feel as though there's a little bit more turf in the pedigree.
Yeah, 60-1 from that outside post. 9-5 favorite, Red River Storm, beaten favorite last start. That was against slightly better. State Bred made 50. So continues to drop down the class ladder, but has speed and is really, at least in all 3 starts, has shown up and shown some ability.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, gets kind of cut off here, but how much horse did she really have? Greg, I don't know. I mean, yeah, a lot of people are going to use that as an excuse, but I don't know.
Not going to be a lot of fillies running her down, though, in this group, are there?
Exactly. That's true. That is true. I thought there was, some second-time starters that could show a bit more speed than what we saw from them in the debuts. And I wonder if Tallahassee gets back to showing some more early speed with those blinkers going on.
Let's go back to Hot Springs.
Yeah, guys, Red River Storm did get put in a little bit tight, but wasn't it more a function of the fact that she got caught by horses? She was in front. You don't get in tight when you're in front and you stay in front of horses.
That was my issue with this horse, and I'd agree with Mag, as I missed the Meg, the Mag show, by the way. But with the number 1, Tallahassee, getting the blinkers on and hopefully being able to settle. As far as the Lasix is concerned, I will say this. I saw her last time out where she was just a no-show. She was ranked. She just completely stopped. Sometimes the Lasix with horses can have kind of a calming effect with them. And that's sort of what I'm seeing from her in the paddock. She was so composed and so just wasn't bothered or turned a hair by anything that was around her. I remember when I saw her last, that wasn't the case. So I really like the positive changes. And again, I think the Lasix is going to be huge for this filly.
Well, I think we both landed on the 1 Tallahassee because of the makeover, right? Getting the Lasix, getting blinkers. Yeah, the post 1, she's got to work out a trip, no doubt about that. She looked good to me. Ron Moquette does such a good job. And he's just such a good person. I was over his home. He's got an incredibly vast collection of racing memorabilia. I could have got lost in there for days, Megan. I mean, there's that much really cool stuff there.
I bet you and Lafitte Pinkai both probably really enjoyed it over there. He's been so kind, so hospitable to all of us here. But, also just taking the drop in class. I think the tag is also going to benefit this filly as well. And with Keith Asmussen aboard. And as I mentioned, this is actually a half to grade 3 toboggan winner, Sasakaya. So has a pretty tremendous pedigree considering there's not much of it to be found in some of these lower level Arkansas bred claiming races.
Sasakaya, a horse owned, bred by Barry Schwartz. Tallahassee, I think it's the Goldilocks effect, right? The drop in class, the right distance, Lasix, blinkers, everything is just right. A horse I'm going to talk about is a big price, just because I'm curious. The 2, Lady Strategy. John Prather owns, trains, bred this horse. Didn't show very much on debut. But Lore's Christian Torres, who actually rode the favorite Red River Storm last time. Now, sometimes that's not always a jockey's choice, or that someone decides to go and race late. But I just thought it was interesting that Christian Torres landed here on a 20-1 shot.
Exactly, and I will say just physically, and I kind of lacking power and muscle behind, and I'm splitting hairs. I mean, these are horses in for $40,000, state-bred claiming types, but I just wish she had a little bit more power to her. It almost seemed as if sometimes when horses grow, they don't always grow linear, and it kind of almost seemed like she was higher behind than in her front end, so it was a little like tipsy-topsy, but she didn't do any running on debut, and she also got Lasix that day, so it's not as if she gets any certain adjustments other than kind of in and around, just a touch below that $50,000 tag. But sometimes you got to play the jockey chairs because, especially in these types of races, that tote board can blow up.
Yeah, again, I was just something that I found a bit interesting and curious. The 7 Royal B I thought made some sense, dropping to the $40,000 level on the dirt here against Arkansas Breds. And she did get off a bit slow last time. She needs to break a little bit cleaner and work out a better trip.
Yeah, I thought just a trend I've been seeing a little bit from horses from this trainer's barn is I feel like sometimes, just from a fitness perspective, they're a little bit overdone, just lacking it a bit, just far as the way this horse is carrying their flesh and condition. I thought it could have been a touch fitter, but does get that race under the belt from obviously a big layoff there in July at the beach. And I will say this, that horse had a really nice race at the beach on debut, but this is a completely different surface, and sometimes horses don't react as well to it.
No, 100%. We're both landing on Tallahassee. Your second choice now getting bet down to 5-2. We don't have any false illusions. We both recognize that Red River Storm is going to be obviously the horse to beat.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. When I first saw this horse, I've seen this horse a couple of times and always been a pro in the paddock. And one that I've always consistently liked and took money, of course, is the favorite last time out. Has that speed and a smaller filly. Just a really small, teeny tiny daughter of Outwork out of a Golden Sense mare. And I was kind of shocked just judging from her pedigree how tiny she is. But I will say, in these types of races, speed can be the ultimate commodity. But we talked about it at the top of our discussion. She was free, and then she just got overtaken.
Yeah, because I think sometimes people just read a chart, right? And they go, well, this horse steadied, so she had trouble.
Right.
She wouldn't have steadied if she was fast enough to
Absolutely.
outrun her competition.
Right.
Well, they're getting ready to head towards the starting gate. Megan, this will be our last hit, and New York's going to clean it up for us. Been a great day of racing here with you, and again, fun interacting with an amazing group of fans here at Oaklawn, and always a pleasure working with you.
Always a good day when I get to work with the MIG, and I'm pretty blessed to be able to do so. Obviously more here at Oaklawn, so I've been enjoying myself quite a bit.
Well, we got a full field lining up for the nightcap here at Oaklawn Park as the sun is kind of settled in behind the cloud cover. It's getting a little bit overcast. Supposedly we got some rain coming in tomorrow, guys, so might have to take a harder look at our past performances for some mud runners. But for the last time for Megan and Mig, we're going to send it up to Matt Dinnerman for the call of the nightcap.
Warm. Batisto, post position 5. Shrimp Cookie coming up. A Vision of Hope. Miss Pumpkin's Peregrine. And to the outside post, we wait on Highway 70. Miss Pumpkin's Peregrine coming up to the gate. Waiting for Miss Pumpkin's Peregrine. And to the outside, Highway 70. Rounding out the field. Miss Pumpkin's Peregrine goes in. Highway 70 to the outside post. A shout out to all our friends tuning in for the finale. We'll see you back here tomorrow. First post, 12:30. We're ready to go. Well, I said that a little too soon. Highway 70, I thought she was in, but they're working with her still. The Johnny Ortiz entrant, Highway 70. Now she's in. We're ready. Here we go. And we're off. Great beginning from Redriver's Storm, who's on the lead at once, trying to clear off here. Redriver's Storm in the first furlong here. Oh, Tallahassee had to slam on the brakes, just hit the rail there, Tallahassee, when it got really tight in there. She's Our Daffodil is the leader here. Redriver's Storm to the outside right there. Length and a half to Jack Scow, runs in third. Royal B in a good position. There's a gap of 2. Miss Pumpkin's Peregrine in the 5th spot with Tallahassee to the inside, and Shrimp Cookie, who finds herself between that pair going into the 4th turn run. Gap of 2 to Highway 70 as they corner. Lady Strategy slipping inside of her. A Vision of Hope and Batista as they round the far turn. Redriver's Storm going to the lead now. She's our Daffodil. Right behind as Redriver's Store opens up a length. Jack Scow trying to come on in third as She's Our Daffodil begins a retreat coming to the top of the lane. Miss Pumpkin's Peregrine is given way. Royal Bee is next as they come off the turn here. Redriver's Storm down the lane. Opens up with a nice kick. Redriver's Storm by 4 with a furlong to go. Miss Pumpkin's Peregrine trying to come on into the second position. She goes, but there's nobody who's going to stop Redriver's Storm from breaking her maiden today. She is 7 lengths ahead and full of run late. Miss Pumpkin's Peregrine holds on for second. Lady Strategy was third. Jack Scow checked in fourth.
Wow, this was no doubt about a victory. Red River Storm with the easiest of times to close things out at even money.
So easy. As you said, there was nobody to run her down late. This daughter of Outwork, Ramon Vasquez in the irons for Jade Gelner, and really made short work of this field. I thought maybe we'd get a little bit of a run from the second-time starter, Jack Scow. It's kind of sitting in a nice spot behind the leader, looked to have horse, but Red River Storm said, no, you don't.
Great shot overhead to see just how big that margin was. Wow. Career start number 4 and the lowest level this one had run at yet. No contest. 1:11.3 final time. For the 6 furlongs, we'll be back with prices from Red River Storm's victory to close things out at Oaklawn.
Witness history.
Sandman is getting a little bit closer with Hypnus.
Greatness.
Here comes Cole Battle and Juan Vargas rolling towards the lead.
And legends in the making.
Cole Battle, the story continues. Cole Battle does it.
Sunday, March 1st at the 2026 Rebel Stakes. Watch champions rise on the road to the Kentucky Derby and compete for a $1 million purse. It's all happening just a short drive away at Oaklawn Hot Springs. Plan your stay today and come join the fun.
Weekends are for winners at Naira Bets. Opt into the Late Pick 5 hit and split bonuses to claim your share of $5,000 every Friday through Sunday. $5,000 hit and splits every weekend when you bet with Naira Bets.
RaceLens is the most in-depth product in horse racing, with unique features found nowhere else. True odds, predictive analysis, and pace projection. RaceLens. It will change the way you follow horse racing and take your game to the next level.
New York breds. Race them.
Respect them.
Bet them.
Respect them.
Breed them.
Respect them.
Buy them.
Respect them.
Train them for a second career.
Respect them. Join us in respecting thoroughbreds at every stage of life. Learn more at nybreds.com.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. RTN has packages that start at $5 per month.
Back on our Friday coverage, and we'll be back with live action in New York tomorrow. We previewed briefly that Stay Florida Sandy we'll have on tomorrow's card here in New York. Card in the books out in Hot Springs, Red River Storm just demolishes the competition in race 10.
As she does. She was your favorite at even money, and she certainly delivered on that backing, making you feel a little bit better if you got beat with her as the favorite last time out.
Ramon Vasquez for, as you mentioned, Jade Gelner barn. And this 3-year-old filly by Outwork. Absolutely gone here. Easy, easy time. 9:11.24 finish with some, wow, some numbers underneath.
Yeah, I would say.
23-1, 32-1, 20-1 to complete the top 4 here.
Yep, as Miss Peregrine's Pumpkin rounds out the exacta.
Well done.
Did I do that okay?
Yeah. Or Miss Pumpkin's Peregrine.
Miss Pumpkin. See, I messed it up anyway.
Glad we're not track announcers.
Correct. That one, and I'd love to know where that came from.
Yeah, not quite sure on that story. Prices, hopefully we will get to you before we sign off. These tickets have gone on sale.
There's Norman.
Final chance to see the Belmont Stakes at historic Saratoga.
I mean, Greg, the last two renditions of the Belmont Stakes at Saratoga have been the most electric the historic Saratoga racecourse has been in my short history of the place.
Yeah, it's been incredible. Incredible. That entire week of racing, so much fun. More Saratoga in the summer. It's always a good thing. And we're going to get 51 days of Saratoga this summer with just how the schedule falls. And, of course, this additional week of racing for the Belmont Stakes Racing Festival. Just announced all the stakes races that will take place during that week.
I mean, there's so many up there, geez. As it should be. It's such a loaded week up there. And obviously, last year we were a little bit affected by the weather. We had some races, moved and mixed around. But hopefully, knock on wood, it goes well this year. And just this star power that this kind of stake schedule brings up to the spa is second to none.
And it's very, very kind of different from last year. We have no idea who the standout 3-year-olds are going to be heading into that week.
No.
Or, even into the first Saturday in May.
I mean, obviously, we'll have a better idea come after the first Saturday in May. Look, last year was something special with sovereignty, with journalism, but that's the fun. With new horses, making their way to the top of the ranks.
Red River Storm, $4 for the win. Pick 5 of over close to $3,200. And a formful ending to the card in Hot Springs on this Friday afternoon. Saudi Cup coverage again begins tomorrow, 8 a.m. Eastern on FS2. And then the FS1 coverage begins at noon with the main event. Part of that, the Saudi Cup $20 million purse and the return of Breeders' Cup Classic winner, Forever Young, for his 5-year-old return. And we were talking earlier in the program when we were previewing this race. Just remarkable that he's just run at the highest level just about all of his races, and he has showed up every single time.
And like you said, probably the race he should have won was the Kentucky Derby, but he had trouble there with Sierra Leone kind of laying all over him, and he just lost that race by a head. So he has been so good. You wonder, obviously he's the defending champ of this race, but does it, because of that one-turn configuration, does it allow a horse like Bishop's Bay, like Nisos, to have a slight advantage?
Yeah, certainly. I mean, with what Bishop's Bay did at Scar Mile.
Right.
Seems certainly it's going to benefit him. And yet for Nisos, only has to go one turn, even though it's a mile and an eighth. I mean, a mile and an eighth might be stretching it a bit for him.
Exactly. I agree. But it might be stretching it for both of those horses, whereas Forever Young is more than astute at the 9 furlong distance.
Yes, indeed. That's the lineup for tomorrow. Again, coverage begins at 8 a.m. Eastern, Fox Sports 2. And then Saudi Cup coverage begins on FS1 at 12 Eastern. Wow. They're excited.
Oh, wow.
The truck.
Yeah, they
Blew
are.
my ears out.
They're pumped for the Risen Star.
Yeah, that's an interesting field that is coming up tomorrow from Fairgrounds. That one with 50 points to the winner, Paladin, for Chad Brown, making his 3-year-old return.
And obviously, with Renegade winning the, the race at Tampa. Sam F. Davis, thank you. Last week, it certainly kind of complemented the things that Paladin has done.
Yeah, they had gone back and forth. Paladin technically with 2 wins over him because
he got put
Renegade,
up.
DQ'd. We'll see who steps up, though.
Yeah, obviously Golden Tempo is one of the horses to beat here. He's undefeated in his brief career so far. I wonder what's going to bear out from that Lecomte day, because I felt as though inside was definitely the place you wanted to be, and that's exactly what Golden Tempo was able to do.
Yeah, that one for Cherie DeVoe. It's going to be an interesting Saturday on the road to the Kentucky Derby. We're back tomorrow again, 8 a.m. Eastern start time from Saudi. Saudi Cup coverage begins at noon on FS1. It was Vibrant Express 4 in a row. helping with a little bit of the way this track is playing here. Staying inside, being quick early. Eric Hensel for George Weaver. Majestic Oops. Takes the American Beauty in the 6-year-old return. We'll see you tomorrow.